Pineda into his windup. Pitch fouled off to the right-hand side. So with that, no balls and 2 strikes. 71 delightful Fahrenheit degrees. That's 22 degrees Celsius. Eric Thames on deck to the left of home plate, and then Jose Bautista in that third base dugout. Sliders outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Unell with the batting average at 300. He's hit 10 home runs, has 20 doubles, has driven in 41. Fastball just inside, 2-2.
The thing that jumps out at you, though, Jerry, is the on-base percentage. Since they moved Unell into the leadoff spot, he's done an amazing job getting on base. It seems like he's 1 for 1 every night.
2-2 offering, lays off that slider, 3-2. Well, Greg, what's interesting, you don't see too many hitters with as many walks as strikeouts, but Escobar, 53 walks, 53 strikeouts, leading to an on-base percentage of .379.
Yeah, you can't ask for anything more from a guy like this. He's not a prototypical leadoff guy, but he's doing a great job.
Fastball, that one popped foul back out of play, first base side. And Stan makes a nice catch down to our right. Here at Safeco Field, all the seats are a dark green. They go all around this beautiful ballpark. Still a lot of blue sky overhead. It's a retractable dome. The roof is rolled back to our right over the right field bleachers. Fastball up and in, ball 4. And Greg Zahn, you just called it. Escobar leads off the game reaching with another walk.
I can't remember the last time he wasn't on base in the first inning. It seems like the better part of the last 2 or 3 weeks, he either gets on with a hit or a walk, and that's exactly what you want to do. And right there, he pushed Pineda to a 4-ball count. He saw a lot of pitches, which is another aspect of being a leadoff hitter that's great. He needs to give the people in the dugout on his side as much information as he can get.
That starts the game. Here's left-handed hitting Eric Thames. After a tough road there of 3 for 34, he's picked it up. He's on a 5-game hitting streak. He drills one deep right field. That's heading for the bleachers. There she goes. A first pitch, 2-run home run to right by the rookie, Eric Thames. His 8th puts the Blue Jays in flight, leading 2-0 here at Safeco Field.
Batting third, right fielder, number 19, Jose Bautista.
That's how you do it, Jerry. You got a guy throwing that hard on the mound. You don't want to wait around for him to get to his secondary pitch with his slider. Nice fastball, middle in right there, and he was ready to hammer it.
He is so quick with that compact swing. You just cannot pitch him inside. He'll make you pay. There's a strike on the outside corner to Jose Bautista, and getting more and more selective, especially with his demotion to Vegas, where he worked on that part of the hitting game and succeeded.
Yeah, he's been a different hitter since he's come back. He was putting the bat on the ball well when he was here the first time, but you're right, he has been a lot more patient. And what I loved right there about the approach was he was ready to hit a ball middle in. Because of the runner at first base, there's a wide open hole. And as a player, being a left-handed hitter, I always look to try to get one in that hole. It's a free base hit with the first baseman holding him on. He did a little bit more than just hit a single to right field. He was ready, and he hit a home run.
Strike 1 pitch to Jose. Fastball for a strike, 0-2. And remember, that's where Pineda was with Escobar, 0-2.
He was. He did a fantastic job taking it from 0-2 to 3-2 and working the walk.
Major league leader in home runs, Bautista with 34. Swing and a miss on a high fastball, strike 3, and the game's first out.
Batting fourth, first baseman, number 26, Adam Lind.
Striking out against the 6'7" right-hander, Michael Pineda, is no embarrassment or disgrace whatsoever. For Pineda, in 136 innings, that's his 138th strikeout, as against only 46 walks.
Yeah, he's a strike thrower, and he likes to work fast. In fact, Miguel Olivo, you'll see him go out there a number of times tonight to slow him down.
Left-hand hitting Adam Lind, the batter. There's a splitter on the inside corner at the knees for a strike. Adam didn't like that and says, I beg your pardon, to 29-year-old young umpire Corey Blazer, just blazing a career into his major league umpiring background. There's a check swing ground ball to third, charged by Kyle Seager. The off-bound throw to first on a bounce, backhanded by the right-handed fielding first baseman Mike Karp for the out.
Batting fifth, the designated hitter, number 10, Edwin Encarnacion.
With Greg's on, this is Jerry Howarth, along with our engineer Tom Young here at Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington. Mike Wilner and Derek Brandeo back in our Toronto studios. Delighted you could join us for some Blue Jays baseball. Edwin Encarnacion up, the DH, red hot with a bat on a 13-game hitting streak. Fastball is up and in, ball one. Edwin won it yesterday, a walk-off single up the gap in the left center in the bottom of the 10th to beat the Angels 5-4. He takes it high. Edwin with a 287 average. He's driven in 36 now with 11 home runs and leads the Blue Jays with 29 doubles. Takes a breaking pitch outside, 3-0, and with a hitter like that, if you're John Farrell, you're more than likely going to offer him the green light.
I'm definitely green lighting him right here.
Pitch is on its way. It's outside, ball 4. A 2-out walk brings up Rasmus.
His plate discipline's been tremendous since he's been swinging the bat great. I think that's one of the reasons why he's gotten so hot, because his plate discipline's been fantastic. He's getting pitches up and out over the plate to drive, and when he gets them, he's not missing them.
You know, tonight there's nothing plain about playing baseball. Pretty safe. The Seattle city skyline just off to our left. This place is awesome.
It sure is. It's majestic, if you want to use that kind of a word.
Here's Rasmus, left-handed hitter. 2-0 Blue Jays first inning. Drive home run to right by Eric Thames. Rasmus fouls to the left, and he just borrowed a page there from Thames going after the first pitch fastball.
If you're a left-handed hitter and you're in any situation with a runner at first base and you get something to pull, you got to be ready. It's hard or soft. It's a wide open hole. It's a free base hit. It really sets you up really nice.
Out of the stretch. Slider for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes.
You know, like I said, when you have a guy that throws this hard, and that home run by Thames seemed to light a fire under Michael Pineda, because you've seen him miles per hour jump up to the mid-90s now. He's angry. You got to get it ready to hit right now. Take that fastball and do something with it.
Miguel Olivo, the catcher, sets the target. And the strike 2 pitch fastball just outside. On the Mariners infield, Kyle Seager at third, Jack Wilson at short, Dustin Ackley at second, Mike Karp at first. Trayvon Robinson at left, exciting young player. Franklin Gutierrez in center, the great Ichiro in right. DHing Casper Wells. Edwin the lead at first, held on by Karp. Stretch. And the delivery outside. Pineda. 21 pitches into the inning. Only 11 strikes, 10 balls, 1 sent out of the yard. The stretch. Glove at the waist. The leg kick and the delivery. Swing and a miss on a splitter under his hands. Strike 3 and the inning is over. But it starts with a walk to Yunel Escobar, and on the next pitch, Eric Thames belts a 2-run home run to right his 8th. As we go to the bottom of the first, it's Toronto 2, the Mariners coming up. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
Welcome to Roger. It's Canada's team. Toronto Blue Jays baseball continues on the Blue Jays Radio Network.
This day in baseball history, August 15th, 2005, just 6 years ago, right here at Safeco Field against Kansas City, the Mariners' Felix Hernandez, the King, becomes the first teenager to strike out at least 10 batters since Dwight Doc Gooden accomplished that feat with the Mets in May of 1984. This day in baseball history brought to you by the Lumix GF2 camera from Panasonic, big league quality, made portable. 2 pretty good young kids there, teenagers. Felix Hernandez and Doc Gooden from different eras, but they could both pitch.
Yeah, electric, unnatural stuff, and at such a young age to be able to come to the big leagues and perform like that, it's just something you don't see very often.
Well, 2-0 Blue Jays. 21-year-old Henderson Alvarez to the veteran Ichiro Suzuki in the first pitch, very wide of the mark, down and away, ball 1. Ichiro hitting just .269. That's about 100 points off his career mark against the Blue Jays over his last 11 seasons. He bunts right through the pitch, trying to drag his way on. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lean, left-handed hitter, starred in Japan, and here enough of a star that when he's through with his career 5 years later, you look for him to be a first ballot Hall of Famer going to Cooperstown. He is that good. 1-1 pitch. Slice to left down the line. Foul by about 6 inches.
That's what he does. He sprays the ball all over the yard. But it's funny. If you come out and you watch Ichiro take batting practice, he doesn't do that. He hits 30 of 35 balls out of the ballpark to right field. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Today I saw him hit about half a dozen of those, and I thought, I wonder how many home runs he could hit if he really wanted to. Alvarez deals 1 and 2. Fastball grounded foul third base side, and that almost hit Coach Torey Labello, our pregame guest there, in the upper body. He went flying down the steps there on the far end of that third base dugout, and it's fortunate he didn't get hit. But you're right, Greg. I think many people would say Ichiro could do that if he wanted, but he would sacrifice in other areas. We'll see what he does here with that magic wand of his. 1-2 pitch fouled away again, third base side over the Blue Jays dugout, caught by a fan with 2 hands.
I've been told by a number of guys that have played with him, he's focused on that number 200. He wants to get 200 hits every single year, and this might be the first year of his American professional baseball career that he doesn't get 200 hits.
Just at 133, he takes inside. And when he gets on, watch out. 30 stolen bases, been caught only 5 times.
You don't see him thrown out too often. He's a very smart base runner. He goes when he knows he can get there.
Blue Jays 2, Mariners batting here in the bottom of the first. A 2-2 pitch, golf foul third base side, and Ichiro's doing what Yunel Escobar did against Michael Pineda, getting a lot of pitches seen for everybody else in the on-deck circle and in that first base dugout.
Yeah, they've only seen 1 game of his on video, and so it's really important that they gather information.
His 8th pitch. Ground ball hit out to second, charged by Hill. Got to be quick, go to first in time to get Ichiro by a step and a half.
Batting second to center field at number 21, Franklin Gutierrez.
The Mariners tonight are wearing those teal shirts, almost an aquamarine look about them with navy blue caps and white pants. The Blue Jays in their road grays. J. Pierre and Sebia catching the young right-hander Alvarez. Brett Laurie at third. Yunel Escobar at short. Aaron, as we said, at second. Adam Lind at first. Eric Thames in left. Colby Rasmussen center. Jose Bautista is in right. There's Franklin Gutierrez, right-hand hitting center fielder. He takes a strike on the inside corner at 97 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's no question. You're seeing 2 of the finest arms in the game pitching against each other in this one.
Pitch on the ground to third. Over the glove of Brett Laurie. That's a base hit. Goes all the way to the corner. Thames picks it up. Into second, Gutierrez with a 2-base hit.
Batting third, second baseman, number 13, Dustin Ackley.
When that ground ball was hit, it took a high hop. Laurie did all he could to reach for lunging with a backhanded stab near the bag, but the ball went just a few inches over his head, and Gutierrez with his 9th double. Well, the Mariners down 2-0 in the first inning already. Dustin Ackley, the rookie second baseman, comes up, left-handed hitter. He's hitting .297 in 48 games. He's hit 5 home runs, driven in 25. They like him a lot. So here you've got a rookie on the mound. Henderson Alvarez is going to get a visit from rookie catcher J. Pierre and Sebia to face rookie left-handed hitting Dustin Ackley with rookie third baseman Brett Laurie. They're all over the place here.
You got one sitting right next to you too, Jerry. I'm a rookie radio analyst.
Yes, you are. Greg Zahn doing a great job. Alan Ashby moves to the television side. Pat Tabler gets the week off, so Alan with Buck Martinez this week. 3 games here, 4 in Oakland. Runner at second, 1 out. Ackley, left-handed hitter, very tall, erect stance. Looks it over outside, ball 1. Alvarez start back on Wednesday against Oakland. That was at home. He threw 104 pitches over 5 2/3 innings. Gave up 3 runs on 8 hits. He struck out 4 and walked 1. Fastball, chip foul, third base side, up into the 300 level here. Blue Jays come in here 4-2 this year against Seattle. These are the last 3 games of the season series. Blue Jays are back to even in August, 6-6. 1-1 pitch. Brookenback ground ball weakly hit to second. Charged by Hill. Snap a throw to first. 2 down as Gutierrez comes to third.
Batting fourth, the first baseman, number 20, Mike Carp.
What am I doing? What
Mike Karp comes up, hitting .320 in 38 games, another rookie. I like him a lot. Already 24 runs batted in. The Mariners are 52 and 67. They've won 2 in a row. They just beat Boston here in a series, losing the opener Friday and then winning back-to-back games Saturday and Sunday. There's a swing and a miss by the left-handed hitter. Brandon Ligg, the ex-Blue Jay, who came here a year ago in the Brandon Morrow deal, saved number 28 and 29, and Ligg has done a great job, so has Morrow. So right now it looks like a pretty good trade for both teams. Pitch grounded out to second. Hill has his third play and makes his third play, and the inning is over as the doubles left to third. So Henderson Alvarez, with great poise and maturity, battles out of a one-out double situation and preserves a 2-0 lead. Compliments of Eric Thames' 2-run blast in the first. We go to the second. With all of that, it's 2-0 Toronto. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
Bet you can.
Add excitement to watching any game.
Bet you can.
Trust a sports site respected in over 120 countries.
Bet you can.
Have the best contests and live stats, whatever your sport is.
Bet you can. Have it all with Bet365.net.
Log on to Bet365.net today and test yourself for a chance to win over $100,000 in cash prizes. And like every contest at Bet365.net, it's completely free to enter.
Hi, I am Pittsburgh Steelers sports personality Troy Polamalu.
And I am Minnesota Twins sports personality.
Catch every Jays game right here on Sportsnet Radio, the Fan 590.
Top of the second inning, the People's Choice up. Brett Lawrie, 2-0 Blue Jays. Right-hander Michael Pineda's pitch. Fastball strike on the inside corner. Brett in 9 games is hitting .355 with his 11 hits, 3 doubles, a triple, 2 home runs, 1 a grand slam. Sliders outside. Been very accommodating with the media, with a very cheerful disposition. He's taken it all in, and then he gets his homework, his discipline in, and he's ready to play. Slider for a strike, 1 and 2, and Pineda hasn't thrown him a good hittable fastball yet. I wonder why.
Yeah, I think because they've seen how lively this kid's hands are.
1-2 pitch, fastball up and in. Lawrie has a pass list here in the vicinity of 150.
It's outstanding.
That reminds me of John Olerud, his mom Linda, years ago at the Kingdom. Pitch, swing and a miss on a fastball, strike 3, and so Laurie's gone. A lot of fanfare, of course, and as he was noting before the game, it's almost like a home game when you come here. But years ago, when John Olerud, who was born right here in Seattle, came to Seattle and played in the Kingdom for the very first time, there were a lot of ticket requests, of course, so he told his mom, Linda, you take care of it. Our traveling secretary is John Brio. I'll introduce you to him when we get there. Pitches inside, ball 1 to Aaron Hill. Here in the second inning, the Blue Jays had 2-0. Well, a little history was made, that 3-game series, when Linda Olerud introduced herself to John Brio and handed him an IBM printout. The pitch is low and inside. The first game, and this is when tickets were free. The first game, there were 105 people coming, guests of John Olerud and his mom and dad. 108 the next day and 107 the last day. That's the Blue Jays record for any 3-game series on the road or at home. Pitch is pop foul. That's going to come back out of play. So on Aaron, we count now 2-1.
Sounds like their moms are a heck of a lot more accommodating than mine. Because I let my mom handle it too, but her brother played in the big leagues for 24 years. So she knew how much of a pain and a distraction it was to get all those people in and out of the ballpark. So she said, how many tickets do you get, Greg? I said, well, I get 4 family and 2 guests. She goes, well, can you get me an extra 10 family and we'll call it a day? And I said, thank you very much.
Your mom, Sherry, is a pitch fouled off, the sister of Rick Dempsey, who caught and played 24 years.
Yeah, besides, I don't think there were 100 and some odd people back home that really liked me all that much, so that they were going to come out and watch a game. It's a long drive to Anaheim.
So for Linda Olerud, wherever you are, you still got the record, even though tonight that one-day record was broken here with Brett Lawrie. The pitch line to second. Right there is Dustin Acker to catch it as one second baseman lines out to another.
Batting ninth, the catcher, number 9, J.P. Arancibia.
Say before or after the game, visit Jack Astor's, home of the fresh half-pound premium beef burger, made in-house daily. Jack Astor's with 2 locations just steps away from the Rogers Center, corner of John and Richmond Streets, and at 144 Front Street West. Jack Astor's, get fresh. Second inning on an Eric Thames 2-run home run to right in the first. The Blue Jays up 2-0 here in Seattle. J.P. Arancibia fouls one at the plate, strike one. Arancibia hitting .209 in 92 games. But the young catcher in his first year with 19 home runs, topped only by rookie Mark Trumbo of the Angels. The Blue Jays just saw him playing first base this last weekend at the Rogers Center. Pitches outside. Now Dustin Ackley at second base leads all American League rookies, hitting .297. Trumbo with 22 home runs, Arancibia with 19. Trumbo 64 RBIs, and J.P. 54. They rank 1-2 among the rookies. Trumbo has 100 hits already. And in total bases, always a key to success. Trumbo with 189. There's a foul back to the screen. Having said all that, Pineda is 9-7. And Jeremy Hellickson has pitched very well. He's in double figures for the Rays, but a lot of people would defer. Even Joe Madden, Hellickson's manager, said, I'd take the everyday player for an honor like Rookie of the Year, even though my pitcher's doing very well. The pitch is outside.
Yeah, I agree with that. Guys that are playing every day have to go out there and grind it out for 162 games. And, you know, a starting pitcher, they work every 5th day. Not to take anything away from them, but they don't work as much.
Slider reached out and popped up foul first base side, maybe playable. Mike Karp, the first baseman of his own dugout, hits on the dugout roof and takes a big hop back into the crowd.
Might be nice if they come up with a new award, say, I don't know, Rookie Cy Young, or, you know, rename it after some other great pitcher, but have a best rookie pitcher for the season, and then you have also the Rookie of the Year. But then again, you know, you could see why pitchers would be included in the running for a Rookie of the Year, because you might see somebody go 15-2 and have an unbelievable year, but they should have a best rookie pitcher award.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Then that way you honor 2 rookies. Two pitches high. Last year, Neftali Feliz with the Rangers helped as a closer take Texas to the World Series. Rookie of the Year, deserved that.
Absolutely deserving. He did something extremely special. And when a pitcher is coming out of the bullpen, it's tough to get considered for those awards, but he did something really special.
Full count pitch. Arancibia hits another foul off to the right, and now you have the battle within the crowd here at Safeco Field. As the Blue Jays fans started, "Let's Go Blue Jays," the Mariners fans, a little laid back here tonight so far, then they started, "Let's Go Mariners." That's going to provide a lot of fun here the next 3 nights.
I always loved coming here. I mean, the ballpark speaks for itself. It's one of the prettiest ones, but the fans are great.
Fastball inside, ball 4. Arancibia draws a 2-out walk in the second inning, with the Blue Jays ahead of Seattle 2-0.
The shortstop, number 5, Yunel Escobar.
I think most players really enjoy coming here. They usually come in the summer. The weather's beautiful. The water's fresh. The air is clean. Pike's Market is a vibrant place. Everybody smiling. There's all kinds of food that's going around to everybody. Starbucks, the first Starbucks ever made and built was right here in 1972 on that little quiet street. The pitch is inside. It's just a vibrant place to come.
It really is, and it has a unique feel, a unique flavor. You look at the architecture, the style in which people build and decorate. It's very different and very unique to the region.
Yunel Escobar walked and scored. He's the leadoff hitter, batting already in the second inning. Takes a strike, gets 1-1. Yunel started the game coaxing a walk out of Pineda on an 8th pitch. And then on the next pitch, Eric Thames blasted a home run to right, his 8th already. Man, his hitting streak to 6 games made it 2-0, and that's the score. Escobar grounds one into the hole at short. Backhanded by Wilson to second to get the sliding Arancibia. Nicely done, and the inning is over. Through 1.5, Toronto 2, Mariners nothing. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
It's always good to be.
Summer issue features
Jays Radio Network.
The Home Hardware On Deck Circle is brought to you by Home Hardware and Building Center Locations. Homeowners helping homeowners. Right here, bottom of the second inning, the Blue Jays with a quick 2-0 lead over tough right-hander Michael Pineda. On a 2-run home run to right by Eric Thames, his 8 back in the first inning. On that Home Hardware Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard, we have 3 finals, and let's start right there in the American League in Detroit. Minnesota, on the crest of not 1 but 2 Jim Thome home runs, beat Detroit 9-6. And for Thome, oh, what a night. Home runs numbers 599 and 600. Francisco Liriano wins it. They beat Rick Porcello. Joe Nathan saved number 10. Let's keep it right there. Jim Thome's one of the nicest players I've ever met. I first met him when he was in Cleveland years ago. Greg's on, and he hasn't changed one iota. He's got the humility and modesty of a Hall of Famer, and for me, he's going in someday.
Absolutely. First ballot. Talked about it with Mike Wilner on the pregame show. There are a lot less 600 home run guys than there are 3,000 hit guys, and he's going in first ballot.
The 8th ever in the history of Major League Baseball to hit 600 home runs. Casper Wells, right-handed hitting DH, takes the strike. He's a gentleman through and through. He has the modesty to go with the credentials on the field, and everywhere he goes, people love him. The pitch is high.
They do. I played against him in rookie ball back in 1990, and you could tell he was special then. Nobody could have projected 600 homers, but what a worker, and you said it, nice guy.
Right-hander Henderson Alvarez with a pitch, half swing. A strike on the half swing is noted by first base ump Tim McClellan. It's 1-2. Jim Thome, to this day, of his 600 home runs, is the only one ever to hit a home run at the Rogers Center into Sightlines Restaurant, above Windows Restaurant, in a regular season game. Cecil Fielder did it twice in the All-Star Game Home Run Derby. The pitch is inside and hit Wells in the back. Well, Alvarez puts him on, thumps him pretty good, and that begins the Seattle second. But nobody, this is when Jim was with Cleveland, has hit one directly into Sightlines Restaurant. That tells you the prodigious power he has.
Oh, he can leave any ballpark probably short of Yellowstone. He always had great power. He had great power to left field, center field, right field. Big, strong guy, and, you know, he's a great hitter. Got that classic left-handed uppercut swing, and a hard worker. And he's just a special player and a special individual.
Here, Blue Jays up 2-0 in Seattle, second inning. Miguel Olivo fouls one back, strike one with a full cut. And what Jim Thome did and does to this day, and probably a lot of kids emulate him, he just stands there at the plate, big left-handed hitter, built like a condominium, and with his bat in his right hand, he just points the bat out towards center field.
Yeah, it was a timing device that he and Charlie Manuel developed. You see a lot of guys who worked with Charlie when he was a hitting coach who do that.
Olivo, a right-handed hitter, takes high.
He would point the bat at the pitcher, and as the pitcher was coming set, he would wind it back like a clock and then set his hands at the top. And the reason he did that was because he felt like when he was in the box early on in his career, he felt like he would start to death grip the bat and get stiff. So he wanted to continuous fluid movement. So he would start to move back, set the hands, and by that time the pitcher was coming.
Olivo punches a fly ball to right. Waiting for it, Jose Bautista makes the catch. Back to first goes Wells.
It just goes to show you there's more than one way to skin a cat, because you're working with individuals every day. And, you know, Charlie Manuel, obviously an accomplished manager, but an amazing hitting coach. And, you know, coming up with something like that to help guys stay loose in their stance, to be prepared to hit. It worked for Jim, and it's worked for a number of other guys, and obviously the results speak for themselves.
So some interesting insights there from Greg Zahn. We're here at Safeco Field in Seattle. Blue Jays lead 2-0. We're in the bottom of the second, one out. Trayvon Robinson comes up, a rookie, left-handed hitter. Pitch to him is slash foul back to the screen, strike one. So on that Home Hardware Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard, on those 2 home runs, Jim Thome can really celebrate them, because Minnesota won 9-6, as we said. Francisco Liriano topping Rick Porcello. The Tigers came in with just a 2.5 game lead on Cleveland. Cleveland off today, so that race in the American League Central is down to 2 games. Meanwhile, the Yankees are in Kansas City, leading the Royals by a score of 6-3. That's in the bottom of the 7th inning. The right-hander Alvarez cuts it loose, misses away with a fastball, 1-1. The Yankees come in trailing Boston by half a game. Now the Red Sox are off, and this is the half game. If the Yankees go on beat Kansas City. They'll be even 73-46 with the Red Sox. Of course, if they lose, there'll be a game back. Kansas City's in the cellar in the Central Division, just 50-71. Having a tough year. Infield looking for a double play ground ball. Fastball is outside, 2-1. Baltimore is in Oakland. Baltimore with a Matt Wieters home run is 11th, leading 1-0. That's in just the second inning. Texas is in Anaheim, end of one, leading the Angels 1-0. The light schedule in the American League. Here the Blue Jays are ahead 2-0. Robinson at the plate. Wells draws a throw over at first base. But Greg, three pretty good races, I guess. Boston with a half-game lead on the Yanks. The Tigers with a 2-game lead on Cleveland. And Texas a 4-game lead on the Angels. And they're beginning now playing 9 games against each other down the stretch. And they finish against each other. Robinson hits a high fly ball deep to left field. That could go. Back is Thames. The ball's over his glove. Hits the wall. Base hit. Thames picks it up around third. Heading home as well. And the relay is dropped out in shallow left field. A double the other way for Robinson. Seattle on the board. Now trailing 2-1 here in the bottom of the second.
That's a tremendous effort by Eric Thames out there in left field. The ball was hit a ton by Robinson. Over the shoulder attempt, almost a Willie Mays-like catch for him to the left.
Eric gave it his best shot, reached out, and the ball just hit off the end of his glove.
Yeah, he's playing awfully shallow, but I don't blame him because it's rare that you see, young players like Trayvon with that kind of power. He's not built like a guy who you would expect to hit the ball that far to left field.
That's the rookie's second double. Robinson at second. Here's left-hand hitting Kyle Seager. He takes it low, ball one. Henderson Alvarez sees the hit batter come back to haunt him and out later. Seager up here hitting just 174. Seager in 14 games, that's all. I look back at second. Alvarez pitch in the dirt, blocked by Aaron Sebia. Great job, and that keeps Robinson at second base.
He did a nice job right there. Not only did he get his chest on it, looks like he got him a little bit in the throwing side forearm, but he pounced on it very quickly. Robinson took a hard step towards third base, but JP was able to pounce on it quick enough to keep him at second.
I have to say, with Greg Zahn here in the booth, for me, watching you, you were one of the very best I ever saw, moving left and right with your legs to get into a position to block the ball in the dirt.
It's something I had to spend a lot of time on. I didn't throw as well as other catchers, so I had to control the running game somehow.
2-0 fastball, foul back.
And Jerry, blocking, it's not the hard part. It's controlling the baseball. It's anticipating when the balls are going to be in the dirt, being in a good fundamental stance so that you have the ability to move laterally. Because if you can't control the baseball after you knock it down, then you might as well just let it go to the backstop and go pick it up. You're going to give up a base each time.
Alvarez protecting a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the second inning in Seattle. Eric Thames muscled a 2-run home run deep to right field on the first pitch he saw in the first inning with a walk aboard to Escobar. Now Robinson doubles home Wells in the second. 2-1 offering is outside. On that Home Hardware Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard in the National League, Atlanta beat San Francisco 5-4 at Turner Field. And look at Atlanta. Yes, they trail Philadelphia by 9 games, but they have the next best record in the 3 divisions, and right now would be a shoo-in to go as a wild card team. And that's the value of having a wild card entry. The 3-1 pitch, a strike on the inside corner. It's 3-2, and the Giants better be careful because Arizona under Kirk Gibson, and they're off today. They came in with a 2-game lead. That's at 2.5 games now, and the loser of that race is out if Atlanta keeps playing the way they do.
Atlanta's got a great pitching staff, dynamic offense, and they are playing some very, very passionate baseball right now.
Brian McCann was just activated from the disabled list, and the Atlanta catcher hit his 19th home run. That ties J.P. Arencibia among all the major league catchers most home runs. Full count pitch, low and inside, ball 4. And Henderson Alvarez here walks the 8th hitter to put 2 men on for Jack Wilson.
The shortstop, number 2, Jack Wilson.
Pittsburgh at home beat St. Louis in their game by a score of 6-2. The Pirates have been sliding with a win of just 57 and 63. They've had 18 straight losing years. And for a while, they were good enough to be 5-6 games over 500 and leading that National League Central Division. But now they've fallen 13 games off the pace. And for the Cardinals, they came in trailing Milwaukee by 5, and they lose. And Milwaukee's at home against the Dodgers, leading 3-0 in the bottom of the 8th behind Randy Wolf, besting Ted Lilly. Fastball to the right-handed hitting Wilson, a strike on the inside corner.
Yeah, that Pirates situation might be a prime example of when a general manager might want to stand pat instead of making changes. It seems like as soon as they made that trade, got a bunch of new guys in there, it may have changed the chemistry of the ball club, and they've pretty much been in a tailspin ever since.
Alvarez looks back at second. 2 on 1 out in the Seattle second. Blue Jays ahead 2-1. The pitch is high. Then they acquire Derek Lee, and he breaks a bone in his hand, and he's on the disabled list.
Yeah, and they let former Lyle Overbay go, and, you know, I heard he just re-signed with somebody the other day, but, you know, there's something to be said about clubhouse chemistry. Yes, you want to plug in some players and show the organization and the fans that you're committed to winning, but every once in a while it comes back to haunt you.
Right-handed hitting Wilson, hitting 244. Alvarez serves it up, and he's in there with a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes, a sinking fastball. And for Henderson Alvarez now, he needs to keep that pitch down. In the minor leagues, he's posted a ground ball fly ball ratio of 1.78 ground balls for every fly ball out. That would rank him 6th in the American League. And he needs a ground ball desperately here to let his teammates work for him and come out of the inning with a double play. We'll see what happens. 1-2 pitch. Ground ball to the right side. Through. A base hit. Here comes Bautista charging. No throw at the plate. Throw it to third on 2 hops to slide. Safely in there is Seager. Taking second on the throw, Wilson. And the Mariners have tied the Blue Jays 2-2.
Henderson's in all kind of trouble. He walks the rookie who's hitting a $174. I understand he's left-handed, but he walks the rookie that's hitting a $174. Now it's first and second. He has to face a veteran hitter in Jack Wilson, who does a veteran thing by spraying one in the hole between first and second. And now second and third, 1 out. And Ichiro is not easy to strike out.
So with that, runners at second and third, 1 out, second inning. The left-handed hitting Ichiro takes it high. And it's a funny game. Alvarez finally got his ground ball, but hit hard enough between first and second to produce a run.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we talk about this ballpark being a pitcher-friendly ballpark, especially in the middle. But Jack Wilson's a guy that's going to put a pro at bat on you, and he sure did right there.
Ichiro fouls one off his shin. A painful strike one, 1-1. He whacked that ball right down on his shin. Now, Alan Ashby has talked about his career of 17 years where he did that continually, and even to this day feels a little bit. Did you do that, Greg Zahn?
No, I wasn't really a guy that fouled many balls off of my foot. Usually, I didn't swing and miss a lot. I didn't get a lot of hits, but I put the ball in play, and I was always pretty much a dead pull hitter. And so I was out front a lot more. The guys that let it travel are the ones that end up falling it off their shins.
Runners lead at second and third. Alvarez pitch socked to left field deep. Back goes Thames. He now turns to meet it, makes the catch. Tagging Seager to come in to score. The throw to third. That keeps the runner Wilson at second. The Mariners go out in front 3-2.
Center fielder number 21, Franklin Gutierrez.
Ichiro's third sacrifice fly. Just his 29th run batted in. He's a leadoff man, and the Mariners have been scuffling all year, so not a lot of RBI opportunities.
No, I had a conversation with Mike Blowers when they were in town in Toronto, and he told me that a lot of the hitters that come here, they get kind of freaked out about the ballpark because they square balls up and they don't go anywhere. And so it causes problems in their swing.
Franklin Gutierrez, the right-handed hitter and center fielder, swings and misses, strike one.
So they've really struggled to put an offense together that can score a lot of runs because of the nature of the ballpark. I mean, basically from the visiting bullpen to the corner and left, it carries. From the Boeing sign 385 to the corner and right, it carries. But in the middle of the ballpark, it's an absolute graveyard.
Gutierrez doubled on the ground over third. First time up, punches a fly ball deep to right. Playable for Bautista. He backpedals onto the track and makes the catch cap high. The inning is over, but Alvarez hurts himself hitting the first man he faces and then walking the eighth hitter, and around that, 2 base hits and a sacrifice fly. And the upshot of it all, a 3-run second. Now the Mariners 3, Toronto 2. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
When you're injured, Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet Radio, the Fan 590.
Brought to you by your Honda dealers. The third, Eric Thames, first pitch swing, he leads it off. It's a 2-hopper to second. Backhanded by Dustin Ackley, and one rookie throws out another. Thames has seen 2 pitches. Here, he just topped this one. But in the first inning, he hit one over the right field wall for a 2-run home run and a 2-0 lead.
See, right there, Jerry, that's a rookie at bat right there. You look at what your pitcher just went through, long, extended inning. Try to get him back in the dugout so that he can get a rest. You swing at the first pitch and make a week out. Those kind of things can't happen.
Here is Jose Bautista, and he takes a first pitch ball. The tall right-hander Michael Pineda. Goes back to Jose. He struck him out the first time. There's a strike called. And don't you agree that's part of the learning process?
It is. It's part of the learning process. But you see Jose Bautista, first pitch out, he takes a strike, not a pitch, a strike.
Pitch is outside. But having said that, Jose, at all those years in Pittsburgh, he probably did the same thing at that time in his career.
Exactly, but he's the one guy in the lineup I don't want taking a fastball down the middle.
There's a slider outside, so it's 3-1.
And that's why it's really important for hitting coaches and veteran players to sit and chat with younger guys. Everybody has to know their role in the lineup.
That's the nice thing about Thames getting playing time this year, setting up next season. Is a swing and a miss on a fastball 3-2. This is such a good year for the Blue Jays, not to rebuild, but to prepare for the playoffs in the next couple of years and then stay there.
Yeah, I like the word you use, prepare. I don't like the word rebuild because it sounds like you're starting from scratch, but they're not. They've got key pieces.
Fastball outside, ball 4. So the seasoned veteran, Jose Bautista, draws a walk. Blue Jays trail 3-2 here in Seattle. And with that, here comes Adam Lynn. Earlier today, the Blue Jays hosted a Honda Super Camp at the Rogers Center. Instructors included Homer Bush, Denis Boucher, Dwayne Ward, Rance Mullenix, Juan Guzman, Alex Gonzalez, Tom Hankey. We had Tom on our broadcast yesterday. Blue Jays proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. For more information, visit bluejays.com/camps. The Honda Super Camps, presented by Baseball Canada. A lot of fun. Boy, there's some great names out of the past right there.
Yeah, a lot of great names. And, you know, I mentioned a couple that we met from Calgary last night at the hotel. They'd come down to see this series between the Mariners and the Jays and talked about their son had just been at the camp in Calgary, and it was a fantastic experience for him.
Lynn grounded out to third his first time. He takes outside.
Dwayne Ward's done a tremendous job with those camps, bringing back a lot of old Blue Jays, but not only old Blue Jays, but guys that really understand the game. And the kids in Canada are getting the benefit of some great instruction.
And listening to here is Greg Zahn, joins us this week here on the West Coast. Alan Ashby moving over to the TV side with Buck Martinez. 3-2 Mariners, third inning. Lynn calls one deep to right field. Back for it, Ichiro looks up, and that ball hits the top of the fence, and there she goes. Bouncing into the crowd, a 2-run home run for Adam Lynn. And the Blue Jays go out in front here in a topsy-turvy game in Seattle, 4-3. He got a good bounce.
Sure did, right off the yellow stripe.
Designated hitter number 10, Edwin Palacio.
Ichiro was hoping for the ball to come back his way, but it did not. And Michael Pineda slapped his bare right hand into his glove. You wonder, Greg, too, with a quick-paced pitcher, and here's a rookie. And we just talked about Eric Thames going up there first pitch swinging. Batter Edwin Encarnacion, fastball for a strike. Can a pitcher like a rookie like Pineda work too quickly?
No, definitely can. And he throws the ball over the plate, so he's around the hitting area a lot.
Edwin takes a ball 1-1.
I mean, you want to have young pitchers throw the ball over the plate, but when a guy can stand there and just get a one look at a ball in the zone after another, it can get kind of dangerous.
Edwin tops the ground ball to short, taken by a charging Jack Wilson. Sidearms to throw to first in time. 2 down.
A guy like Pineda, as big as he is and as hard as he throws, yes, can continue to throw strikes. But there are times when you have to leave the strike zone on purpose. And sometimes it means down and away. And other times it means undress somebody with a fastball up and in, because you cannot allow major league hitters like Adam Lind to get comfortable in the box, or they will hammer you no matter how good you are.
Adam just hit his 21st home run, RBI 67 and 8. Here's Colby Rasmus, left-handed hitter, 2 down in the 3rd inning. Fastball outside. The Blue Jays were back here on their first road trip, came to Seattle and lost 2 out of 3 games. And one of those games was Michael Pineda beating Ricky Romero 3-2. A very well pitched game. Pitches outside. Pineda went 7 1/3, gave up only 1 earned run, 2 total. Ricky went the distance, gave up 2 earned runs, 3 total. As we said, the Mariners won at 3-2. That's when Pineda was at his best. Rasmus fouls one back to the screen, 2-1. These teams met again in Toronto after the All-Star break, and the Blue Jays swept the 3-game series, including an extra inning win, 6-5 in 14 on John McDonald's walk-off sacrifice fly in a game that Pineda started and gave up 5 runs on 7 hits over 6 1/3 innings. He ended up with a no decision. There's a strike called, 2-2.
And you can tell Michael Pineda did not like the call on the first pitch of this at-bat. He's showing his youthful side right now, looking around at the sky, kind of negative body language.
Fastball poured in, swing and a miss by Rasmus, strike 3, and the inning is over. But again, a pitcher gets burned with a walk, and in this case, Pineda to Bautista with 1 away, and Adam Lind chauffeurs him home with a 2-run home run to right. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Blue Jays 4, the Mariners 3, brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
The Power Workers Union. The people who help keep the lights on.
Jays baseball on the Blue Jays Radio Network.
The Androids are among us, introducing the Xperia Arc and Xperia Play, exclusively from Rogers. Toronto leads at 4-3. Here in Seattle, bottom of the 3rd inning. Greg's on, having a good time.
I'm having a great time, Jerry. Back in the booth with an old pro like Jerry Howard.
Emphasis on old. Here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, 21-year-old Henderson Alvarez has the lead. Now he's had a 2-0 lead. Fell behind 3-2 with Seattle's 3-run second. And now he's back out in front 4-3. And that kind of a start to the game. Bottom of the 3rd inning. And the batter Dustin Ackley, and he takes strike 1 called. Ackley batting 3rd in Eric Wedge's lineup. He grounded out to second his first time up. Pitch is outside. The Blue Jays yesterday in 10 innings beat the Angels 5-4. Interesting note about that game. The pitch is low. The Blue Jays are 10-3 this year in extra inning games. But with that 5-4 win, that's the Blue Jays' 11th straight extra inning win at home, going back to June 5th of last year. There's a foul hit down the left field side. That's the longest streak of consecutive wins in home games that went extra innings for any major league team since the 1983 through 85 Mets won 12 straight extra inning games at Shea Stadium. That was 28 years ago.
It's an amazing stat, and I'm just amazed that somebody actually kept track of something like that.
Ackley fouls another one off. So 11 and counting at home. And Edwin Encarnacion, the 9th different player this year to walk it off. No matter what. Aaron Hill has done it twice. John McDonald a couple of times. Lyle Overbay before he was cut adrift. Ground ball down to first, fair, taken by Lind. He'll make the play himself. Junel Escobar has done it. Travis Snyder, David Cooper, Corey Patterson, Adam Lind. That's a pretty good note right right there in extra innings. All those ninth inning walk-off base hits.
Yeah, they're all making contributions. It is nice to see. It makes everybody believe that 1 through 9 that they are dangerous, and especially yesterday was a 2-out base hit, and it was crisp. It wasn't a cheap one.
Well, the batter now, Mike Karp, left-handed hitter, takes strike one called. And we might add, with Greg's on here with us, you had a couple of walk-off grand slams, didn't you?
I did. I had 2 in my career, one while a member of the Blue Jays.
Fastball outside.
The first one I hit was when I was with Houston, and then my last year with the Jays, I hit a walk-off grand slam home run in the 13th inning versus the Tampa Bay Rays.
The ball socked to deep left field. That's heading to the bullpen. Staines goes back at the wall. It's gone. Mike Karp has just hit an opposite field home run here in Seattle. That's just his 5th. And this game is tied again. It's 4-4. Supposed to be a big old pitcher's ballpark, and we've already had 3 home runs, 2 by the Blue Jays. Eric Thames with a man on in the first, Adam Lind in the top of this third with a man on, and now Karp hits one for Seattle. Casper Wells up, hits one foul right side.
Well, I'm never going to say that there's anything cheap about a major league home run unless you're talking about Yankee Stadium, but I mentioned that it flies well down the line, and Adam Lind and Eric Thames hit theirs in almost exactly the same spot. Karp just went into his own bullpen, and that's out there in big boy land, and it's opposite field. That ball was struck well.
Wells takes it high. Well, the fans have already seen 8 runs, 6 hits, and we're not through 3 innings yet. Game 1 of 3 here, all night games. Fastball high. The kids are getting punished here tonight.
They are, and, they're making, typical young mistakes. And when you look at a ball game, there's ebb and flow. And one of the things you got to do when your team goes back out there and gets you the lead, you need to get a shutdown inning.
Fastball grounded into the hole at short. Backhanded by you now. Escobar's strong throw, the stretch by Lynn. Got him with a fine play by the Blue Jays shortstop.
The catcher, number 30, Miguel Olivo.
I know everybody doesn't go out there and say, well, I'm not going to be at my best this inning, but there are certain times in the ball game when you absolutely have to get 3 outs without giving up a run. You can't allow a team like the Seattle Mariners to continue to think that they're in this ball game. And so when your team comes back with another 2-run homer, gets you the lead, you go out there, get 3 outs, it demoralizes the other team and keeps them down.
Miguel Olivo, the right-hand hitting catcher, swings and misses, strike 1.
Now, instead, they're tied, and they feel like, okay, we can hit this kid, and we're going to stay in this ball game. Instead of getting his team back in the dugout so they can continue to damage Pineda, now that's a tie ball game.
Fastball, foul back to the screen. 0-2 on Olivo. Well, Blue Jays 2 in the first, Mariners 3 in the second. Blue Jays 2 in the top of this third, Mariners 1 in the bottom of the third. Henderson Alvarez, 21, against Michael Pineda, 22. They figured to be around a long time. Strike 2 pitch is inside. Who's the best young pitcher you ever caught?
Well, there were quite a few guys that had great arms. And I tell you, Miguel Batista comes to mind. I caught him at a young age when he was with the Florida Marlins, and his stuff was off the charts.
Slider away, 2-2.
He was one of those guys that had too many weapons. He had 7 different pitches he could throw, and he could never really figure out which ones he wanted to.
Alvarez pitch, a slider in the dirt, swing and a miss, struck him out. Aaron Sevilla digs it out of the dirt, throws down to Lynn to make it official. But Karp homers to left field, and at the end of 3, Toronto 4, Seattle 4, the expansion team from 1977, dead even. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network. Top of the 4th inning, 4 is the number. The Blue Jays have it, and so do the Mariners. Blue Jays 4 runs, 2 hits, no errors. Mariners 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors. Brett Lawrie comes up, heading up the bottom third of the order for John Farrell's Blue Jays. The 6'7" right-hander, Michael Pineda, who weighs in at 260 pounds, struck Lawrie out on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball back in the second inning. So they meet again here 2 innings later. Pitch is low and outside, ball 1. On deck, Aaron Hill, and then J.P. Arancibia. 1-0 pitch to Brett. Belted deep left field. High, long drive. Yes, sir. Let's admire another one. Hit off the bat of rookie Brett Lawrie. Lawrie hits his third. And they're on their feet here at Safeco Field. So many coming down from Vancouver, British Columbia, and his hometown of Langley in the suburbs. The Blue Jays lead at 5-4. What a swing that was.
Hanging breaking ball out over the middle of the plate. You could almost see him stop and start again. He saw that one and he stayed back on it, did a nice job with it.
Hill takes outside. And that's some of that patience, too, that he took some pitches like that earlier if they were not strikes. Here he swings at one that is a strike.
Yeah, that one's center cut.
Hill swings and he misses 1-1. This kid has played 10 games and the legend is already established.
He's off to a great start. You got to be really happy for him and his family.
Pitch is fouled off left-hand side by Hill. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, we had a chance at length to visit with manager John Farrell before the game, and first thing he said was, I hope the Brett Lawrie Festival has just started.
I think everybody in Toronto does.
And continues. The pitch hit on the ground weakly to third. Tough play. Charged by Siegel. No play. A late throw, and Hill has an infield hit.
Well, you know, Jerry, they say that they even out, but they never really do. But for Aaron Hill, so far tonight, he's even. He belted one to second base, line drive, right at Ackley, caught for an out, and then the swinging bunt to third base. Now he's 1 for 2. So in tonight's game, call it even.
He's at first base for ninth hitter J.P. Arancibia, who walked in the second inning. Well, Brett Lawrie has been so accommodating. He was our pregame guest. He's just so good with the media. So much poise and maturity for someone who turned 21 to start this year. Arancibia takes a strike. And John right away said his hitting is phenomenal. We know that. We've seen that. But he said, how about that defensive play he made yesterday in the ninth inning with the Angels threatening to go ahead, and on the ground ball top to third, Brett turned it into a double play. He threw to the plate, got a return throw from Arancibia for 1, and immediately looked and saw Mark Trumbo caught between first and second, ran toward him, threw to Lynn, who threw to McDonald, and tagged out Trumbo for the double play.
Handled it like a veteran player would, and that's what they do all that drilling and spring training for, is to teach you to react a certain way.
Arancibia hits a foul over our heads, 0-2.
You go through all these drills, especially if you're a veteran player. It's the one time of the year where you sit there and go, oh, Lord, not again. Rundowns, pickoffs, relays, all that stuff. But there's a reason why big league players react the way they do in certain situations. He did it. He's been doing it his whole life. He's a ball player.
Hill goes. Pineda steps off the rubber, throws to second. The slide, the tag. Safe. He missed him. A great slide by Hill. And the second baseman got deep. And here comes manager Eric Wedge. At second base ump Brian Runge looked, waited, and went palms down to call Hill safe. A stolen base. Aaron broke for second, and Pineda took the stretch, stepped off the rubber, became an infielder, threw it to second. Aaron slid, stopped, and then vaulted over the tag of the second baseman Ackley. So Wedge loses the argument, and it looked like Ackley might have, on the second and third attempt, tagged Aaron around the feet before he got his hand to the bag.
It does look that way. Aaron got tagged on the feet as he was reaching for the base. Runge was completely screened off by the fielder, though.
Nobody out. Runner at second. Arancibia fouls one to the backstop.
So for tonight, Aaron Hill, an Oscar award.
He won that, too.
He absolutely did, and I think what sold it for him was they saw the double swipe by Ackley, the second baseman, and then Aaron Hill instinctively starts saying, okay, timeout, I'm safe. And it really sold it.
It sold to Brian Runge. Strike 2 pitch to Aaron Seavey is outside. Well, for Aaron, the infield hit and a stolen base. And that's what it is, a stolen base. So he is 15 of 17 this year stealing bases. Remember, he sat the last 2 games. John McDonald did very well in his stead at second base, both defensively and at the plate. But John tonight said, Aaron Hill is my second baseman. What I want to do, and we've talked to him often, is to find some enjoyment in the game. And I think he's finding that here tonight.
I think so. Aaron's a grinder. He's not one of these guys that just shows up and looks pretty out there on the field. He plays the game really hard with a lot of passion.
There's a foul off left-hand side.
He wants to do well. He knows what his contract situation is. He knows how much money the Jays are paying him, and he wants to make good on his end. Nobody wants to do better than Aaron Hill.
Blue Jays 5, Mariners 4. We're just in the top of the 4th. Brett Laurie, a leadoff home run to left, his 3rd for the lead. Pineda's pitch, fastball, cracked foul on the right side. That'll head back into the crowd. Moving into twilight time now here at pretty Safeco Field in Seattle. The retractable dome roof is well off to the right. It's housed now above the right field bleachers and then goes past that. And then eventually when it rolls and covers this grass and dirt surface, it comes from right to left, meeting the bleachers off to our left here in the upper deck. Pitch is low, 2-2.
I like to call the Rogers Center the concrete convertible. This is more like a concrete umbrella.
It is like an umbrella.
Yeah, because it's open air even when the roof is closed.
Very picturesque ballpark. The city of Seattle off to our left, looking over the top of the left field bleachers. Pineda set, looks at second with nobody out. Deals to Aaron Seavey. A fastball, strike 3 called outside corner. Aaron Seavey didn't like that. He'll argue and take the bat back with him to the third base dugout.
The shortstop, Yunel Escobar.
Sportsnet is launching the brand new Sportsnet magazine on September the 29th. It features stunning photography and in-depth analysis from Canada's top sports journalists, including Shai Davidi, Michael Grange, and Mark Spector. Be the first to get it. Subscribe today at sportsnet.ca/magazine. 5-4 Blue Jays in Seattle. We're in the 4th. Yunel Escobar up. And is bent back, does the limbo to avoid being hit with that fastball. Ball 1. This game started with Escobar walking against Pineda. And on the next pitch, Eric Thames, who's on deck, lined a home run to right field to quickly make it 2-0. Pineda's pitch, swing and a miss. Chased the slider away, 1-1. In the bottom of the second off young Henderson Alvarez, he hit Casper Wells. And out later, the rookie Trayvon Robinson doubled Wells home for 1. Seager walked, and the ninth hitter Jack Wilson singled on the ground to right to tie it at 2. And that set up Ichiro's sacrifice fly to left to bring home Seager from third to make it 3-2. Fastball outside. Then in the top of the 3rd, the Blue Jays took the lead with 1 out. Bautista walked, and Pineda gave up a 2-run home run to right to Adam Lind, his 21st. But in the bottom of the 3rd, with 1 out, Mike Karp, a left-handed hitter, homered to left off Alvarez to tie it at 4. And now in the 4th, Laurie starts the inning, getting the Canadian contingent on their feet with a home run to left, and it's 5-4. Hill dances off second. Now Pineda again steps off the rubber, and Aaron's able to get back to the bag without a throw.
You know, walks will kill you every time. I mean, minus those 2 walks, Pineda's winning this ball game 4-3.
And Alvarez can say the same thing. He hit a man and walked a man in that 3-run second. So this is quite a different game than yesterday's entire game, which produced 2 walks in 10 innings. Ground ball out to short, scooped up by Wilson. He tosses on to first in time. To third comes Hill.
Left fielder Eric Thames.
And here's Thames. He's seen 2 pitches tonight. Homered to right with the Escobar walk-on in the first inning. And then in the 3rd, grounded out to second. And what do you think he'll do here?
Well, this is not a situation where you take fastball down the middle. So if he gets another one, I say turn it loose, even though Jose Bautista is on deck.
With Greg Zahn, this is Jerry Howard with our engineer Tom Young here at Safeco Field in Seattle. Mike Wellner and Derek Brandeo back in our Toronto studios. Delighted you could join us for some Blue Jays baseball tonight. Thames sits the first pitch into the air at third. In on the grass, Kyle Seager. He's under it. He has it. The inning is over. Laurie homers, and a single by Hill is left at third. We go to the bottom of the fourth. The Blue Jays are back out in front. It's Toronto 5, the Mariners 4, brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
Blue Jays Radio Network.
The Home Hardware on deck circle is brought to you by Home Hardware and Building Center Locations. Homeowners helping homeowners. Anderson Alvarez and Michael Pineda, each with a rocky road to hoe, and the Blue Jays lead at 5-4. Mariners come up here in the bottom of the fourth inning with the 7, 8, 9 hitters. Trayvon Robinson, Kyle Seager, and Jack Wilson. On that Home Hardware Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard, in the American League at Comerica Park in Detroit, Minnesota beat the Tigers 9-6, but the story there, Jim Thome, the big left-handed hitter, hit 2 home runs, numbers 599 and 600 to become the 8th hitter in the history of Major League Baseball to hit 600 home runs. So congratulations, Jim. Francisco Liriano beat Rick Porcello. Joe Nathan a 10 save. The Twins have been decimated by injuries this year. With a win, they're 53 and 67. They're not going to win the division this year, but they've won it 6 times in the last 9 years. A testament to a great organization. General managers Terry Ryan and now Bill Smith, Tom Kelly, and manager Ron Gardenhire. Only 2 managers over the last 25 years. Robinson up. He doubled home a run and scored. His first time up, he takes a strike. Hits one foul to the right side, 0-2.
The Twins organization, they have a very proud way about them. They play the game the right way. And Ron Gardenhire has done an amazing job with, limited budget. They don't go out and spend a whole lot, but his players all seem to work well together.
Robinson fouls one off to the left. Count 1, no balls and 2 strikes. Or on the scoreboard, 1 ball and 3 strikes. You don't see that too often.
Not too often. Usually when I was up, I was like, really? Already?
The count on Greg's on 1 ball and 3 strikes. I remember saying that quite often when you were a
Strike 4, strike 5.
There's strike 3 called, so the scoreboard had a premonition here at Safeco. Now, not the right premonition for a home hitter, but Robinson now has a count of 1 and 3, and he's back to the first base dugout.
It reminds me of the opening scene of the movie Mr. Baseball. Tom Selleck's hitting, and he's like, takes strike 3, or swings and misses at strikes 3, and he's like, hey, get back in there. You're not done yet. And he just kept swinging and missing. Strike 12, strike 13.
Kyle Seager, left-handed hitter, shows bunt, takes outside. Well, I will say this about you, Greg, and at least when you were a Blue Jay and you spent 5 years with the Blue Jays and a great run you had, Seager hits one foul third base side. Inevitably, when I would look down at the stat sheet with you at the plate, you had more walks and strikeouts or the same number.
Yeah, I took a lot of pride in putting the ball in play. In fact, too much sometimes. I grew up in a town or an atmosphere where striking out was the worst possible thing you could do, and so it just kind of got stuck in my head.
Before 28,530 here tonight, 28530. Seager takes outside 2-1.
In my desire to not strike out, a lot of times I would put a B swing on a pitch before there was 2 strikes just to put it in play.
There's a high fly ball into left field coming on Thames. The skies are darkening also past twilight time. Eric makes the catch, and you don't suppose that the game might have its first 1-2-3 inning. Oh, Jerry spoke too soon.
Oh, Jerry, there you go. Yeah, I didn't learn later in my career, or until later in my career, that it was okay to swing and miss at a pitch if you were fooled with less than 2 strikes. And that's something that I tell kids all the time. You're in control of your at-bat until you get to 2 strikes, so always put your best swing out there.
Jack Wilson fouls one right down below us, but with a former catcher to my left, I fearlessly just stood right where I was.
I was going to mention that earlier. I can see the progression in your comfort level. because the first series we worked together, you flinched, and I told you, I got you, Jerry. And now you don't even pay attention. You know I'm going to get it.
I know. Alvarez pitches high, 1-1.
It's a trust that's developing between us.
5-4 Blue Jays here in Seattle. 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning. Henderson Alvarez gave up an RBI single to right to Wilson his first time up. Up he comes. The ball is looped into center field, base hit, and the game still looking for its first 1-2-3 half inning. Isn't it amazing how sportscasters control the game from up here?
It is. That's why I talk to my partner, Jamie Campbell, all the time about mentioning no-hitters and whatnot. He's like, I'm not a player. I can't possibly jinx it. And the way I look at it is he's probably right, because there have been so many almost no-hitters. In fact, more almost no-hitters than there's been no-hitters. And how many times did guys say nothing about the almost no-hitter and it got broke up anyways? So it wasn't your fault, Jerry.
Now 2 down. Here's Ichiro, who's grounded out and had a sacrifice fly. He takes a strike to throw to first. A strike as well to Lynn, but back in is Wilson. Mariners now with 5 hits. The Blue Jays with 4. The Blue Jays, of their 4 hits, have hit 3 home runs. Eric Thames, a 2-run home run to right in the first. Adam Lind, a 2-run home run to right in the third. Brett Laurie, a leadoff home run to left here in the top of this 4th. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Alvarez, the right-hander, misses way outside 1-1. Going back to that home hardware, Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard, the Yankees beat Kansas City in their game by a score of 7-4. So with Boston off, the Yankees and Red Sox are even now in the American League East. Ichiro fouls one off third base side. Top of the 5th inning in Oakland, the A's lead Baltimore 2-1. And in the 4th inning in Anaheim, Texas with a 2-1 lead over the Angels. We'll be watching that one for you. The Rangers come in with a 4-game lead on the second-place Angels, who just lost 2 out of 3 in Toronto. There goes the runner. Wilson, the pitch fouled off at home plate, and Jack slid into second, and he'll come on back.
We were talking earlier about the great block that JP made earlier in the game and how he hustled after the ball, about how important it is to think of each base as a quarter of a run. And I find it interesting, and this is part of the learning process. It's such a low percentage play to pick behind a runner. But when you look at the fact that there's 2 outs, if he throws that ball away in that situation, now you have a runner in scoring position. This is why he's trying to steal second.
Wilson does not go. Ichiro takes high.
I knew that I didn't throw well towards the end of my career. I always felt like I blocked the ball well, but I prided myself on being able to catch the baseball, keep it in the strike zone, block it, and control it so that we could keep guys from getting extra bases. And so that was one of the reasons, other than not having a great arm, why I didn't pick to bases, because it's such a low percentage play. The risk-reward factor is not there. You don't ever put a guy into scoring position with 2 outs unless he earns it. Same thing at second. When I attempted my very few picks at second, it was always with 2 outs, because the best he was going to get was 1 more base, and it still took a base hit to drive him in with 2 outs. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But with a runner at first base and 2 outs, very low percentage play, risk-reward is not there.
Wilson goes again. The 2-2 pitch is nubbed out in front of the plate to the mound, taken by Alvarez. Quick throw to first, and the inning is over. No runs, a hit, and 1 left. End of 4. Toronto 5, the Mariners 4. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
Downtown Toronto Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet Radio, the Fan 590.
This year brought to you by Super 8 Worldwide. Visit super8.ca. 5th inning, Blue Jays 5, Mariners 4. Right-hander Michael Pineda to face Bautista, Lind, and Encarnacion. Jose struck out and then walked with 1 out in the 3rd and came home on Adam Lind's 2-run home run to right. Jose takes a slider for a strike. On that Home Hardware Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard, 4 finals in the National League will pass on to you. Fastball line to second. Taken on a hop by Ackley. A throw to first in time. One away. A shot off the bat of Bautista.
Ackley's a good-looking young player. He really is. He handles himself really well. He moves well at second base. And he swung the bat very well in that series up at Toronto at the Rogers Center. Got a nice, free, easy left-handed stroke. Nice find for the Mariners.
One out. Here's Lind, who has grounded out and homered, his 21st. Adam with 68 RBIs now. In the first inning, Pineda walked leadoff hitter Yunel Escobar, and Eric Thames on the next pitch homered to right, his 8th. And the rookie made it 2-0 just like that. Adam takes low. The Mariners scored 3 in the bottom of the second off Alvarez. And then the Blue Jays took the lead in the third on the 2-run home run to right by Lind. That made it 4-3. There's a swing and a miss. In the bottom of the third, Alvarez gave up a 1-out home run to left by Mike Karp. That tied it at 4. And then Brett Lawrie brought them to their feet leading off the fourth. He homered to left field, his 3rd in 10 games. That made it 5-4, and that's the score here in the top of the 5th. Lind takes it low. In the National League, Atlanta, Turner Field edged the Giants 5-4. That's good news for Arizona. The Diamondbacks are off. They pick up half the game and now lead the West by 2.5 games over the Giants. And let's pause right here with Greg Zahn in our booth. Alan Ashby moving to the TV side with Buck Martinez. The pitch is outside. One of the real storybook teams this year is Arizona. They started the year about 5 games under 500. And the reason they're such a celebrated team now is not so much their team, but their manager. Lynn lines a base hit through the left side. On a 3-1 pitch, he's aboard, 1 out. And here's Encarnacion. But Kurt Gibson, the fiery left-handed hitter with the Tigers, helped them win the '84 World Series. And all that pent-up intensity and anger at times. Now managing, he's calmer, but what a story he is, taking that team, shaping it his way, and the Diamondbacks lead the division.
Well, right away, when a guy like Kurt Gibson takes over, there's credibility there. You know what he was like as a player. You know he's got the credentials.
Encarnacion takes outside.
And one of the knocks on the Diamondbacks for the last few years was young team, lots of excitement, good-looking players. They strike out too much. They're swing and miss club. They don't have a good bullpen. But he's gone over there and changed the culture in that clubhouse.
Encarnacion belts one deep left field. High, long drive. Back for it, the left fielder on the track, making the catch, Trayvon Robinson. He goes to second on a bounce, driving Lind all the way to first.
Right there, Jerry, that ball struck very, very well. And probably a home run at the Rogers Center. But as it gets later into the day here, especially being on the water, the air gets a little bit heavier. It's a little colder. It doesn't fly as well. And that's one of the things that Mike Blowers was telling me about the Mariners hitters, because a lot of them get demoralized by the ballpark. And it really affects their psyche and their actual swing, because they're not rewarded for good swings. And Encarnacion put a great swing on that ball with absolutely no reward.
Now the batter is the left-handed hitting Colby Rasmussen. Greg, as we speak, you see the flags out on left center field, the U.S. and Canadian flags, the teams around the American League, especially in the Western Division. Those flags are all blowing in. That's a factor as well, as Edwin had to hit that high drive into the wind, which helped knock it down.
Yeah, the other home runs you've seen tonight have been more of the line drive variety. That was a typical kind of high arcing home run swing.
Rasmussen struck out twice. Colby takes a strike, 1-1.
And it can get in your head. It really can. As a player, hitting in a ballpark like this can really get in your nugget, and you start to think, well, what do I have to do to get a base hit? And so they have to put together clubs that either have massive amounts of power, or they've got to have a lot of speed and guys that are more line drive type hitters.
5-4 Blue Jays over the Mariners, 5th inning. Lind at first, 2 down. Rasmus lines a base hit to right field. 2 off to Ichiro, around second Adam. Heading for third. Ichiro's throw dropped with a cutoff man. Lunging for it, Jack Wilson. The ball rolls to third. Encarnacion had just lined out deep to left, but Rasmus keeps the inning going with a line drive single to right. And the Blue Jays have runners at first and third, 2 down for who else? Brett Lawrie.
Right there, that's a great base running move by Adam Lind. He saw that Ichiro was fielding the ball in right field, kind of flat-footed. He wasn't charging the ball. He actually kind of took a couple of stutter steps back. And as soon as Adam Lind saw that Ichiro had stuttered backwards to field that ball, he was gone. And flat-footed, even the great arm of Ichiro wasn't able to throw it accurately and strong enough to third base. And so now, instead of it being first and second, and all of the infielders being back into their normal position, Brett Lawrie is going to get a chance to bat against basically three infielders instead of 4, because they're going to have to hold on Rasmus to first base.
Carl Willis, the pitching coach, to the mound. That conference broken up by plate umpire Corey Blazer. The Blue Jays with a 5-4 lead here in Seattle at Safeco Field, 5th inning. Have runners at first and third, 2 down for Lawrie. Brett has struck out and homered the left field, his 3rd.
You see clubs like California, the Angels of Anaheim, whatever they're calling them these days, they run the bases like that. They really stress going first to third, and the reason why it's important, because when you play that first to third game, it stretches the defense. As we look out here right now, third base is at his normal position. Shortstop, second. They're holding him on. The whole right side of the infield is wide open for a base hit.
Pineda lobbed to first base. Rasmus back. Lawrie wearing a blue 13 and his gray shirt steps out. A lot of folks coming down from Langley, British Columbia, Vancouver, British Columbia just in general to take in this game here tonight. 28,530 watching. The pitch to Lawrie. Fastball strike on the outside corner. John Farrell was talking about that great defensive play as well yesterday in the 9th inning that Brett started. Game awareness, has his mind in the game, and he reacts so well, but under control. Strike 1 pitch, swing and a miss. He chased that time, a splitter in the dirt, no balls and 2 strikes. And John went on to say Brett is unfazed by all the attention and fanfare, and he almost equated him to the hockey mentality. Tough, competitor, focused, and nothing bothers him.
He hasn't shown any sort of chinks in the armor, that's for sure.
There's a strike 3 called, splitter at the knees. Pineda comes back. One rookie gets another, so they're in each other's books, as they say, and the inning is over. A couple of base hits left on. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Toronto 5, the Mariners 4, brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
Toronto Blue Jays Baseball, Sportsnet Radio, the Fan 590.
Bottom of the 5th inning. This inning is brought to you by Rogers. Hello, Speed Boost. Goodbye waiting. Another first only from Rogers. Visit Rogers.com/speedboost. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, a strike called to Franklin Gutierrez against the Blue Jays' young right-hander Henderson Alvarez. Blue Jays ahead 5-4. There's a fastball for a strike on the outside corner. It's 0-2. Gutierrez doubled on the ground over third back in the first and flied out to right in the second. Blue Jays 5 runs on 6 hits. The Mariners 4 runs on 5 hits. Alvarez about to throw his 80th pitch here in just the 5th inning. A slider is in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jerry Howarth with Greg Zahn filling in this series. And on the West Coast for Alan Ashby, who is filling in for Pat Tabler, joining Buck Martinez on the television side. Our engineer here, Tom Young, with Mike Wilner and Derek Brandale back in our Toronto studios. Great to have you with us on our Blue Jays Radio Network. And very happy to have you with us on the internet, wherever you happen to be. A foul back goes to the screen. 1-2 as Alvarez has piled up quite a few pitches.
He has. He's been a little bit more efficient tonight than he was in his first start. But the problem with Alvarez right now is his fastball is in the low to mid-90s, and it runs from left to right. But so does his changeup, and he hasn't really developed that slider yet, that out pitch.
He tries to throw a slider up and in 2-2.
It's just inconsistent right now for him. And the reason why he's going to run a high pitch count from night in, night out is because there's really not that secondary out pitch, that devastating slider, that split finger to put people away, to get those strikeouts. So he's going to be running in deep counts all night long.
He's outside with a slider, 3-2, and there's some of that command issue right there.
Yeah, and when major league hitters are looking at a pitcher and they're seeing two different speeds basically moving the same, they know they can go up there and pretty well sit on something straight and just adjust to the speed. And when he adds that slider, it'll be really hard for him to keep on it.
Fastball is hit deep but foul to left field, and the count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes.
So even though he's throwing 95 miles an hour and the changeup's in the low 80s, which is a good difference in speed, 10 miles an hour is the mark of, in my opinion, a good changeup versus a so-so one. It's that slider that's going to break the opposite way of his fastball and his changeup that's going to keep guys from basically leaning out over the plate and knowing that the ball's going to come back to him.
3-2 pitch to Gutierrez. Jammed him, and he pops it up at third. Brett Laurie in foul ground comes into the coaching box, makes the catch. And with that, 1 down. Dustin Ackley comes up. On that Home Hardware Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard, these finals in the National League, as we said, Atlanta at home beat San Francisco 5-4. So the Diamondbacks off have a 2.5 game lead now in the National League West. Ackley, the left-handed hitter, takes the strike. Pittsburgh beat St. Louis in Pittsburgh 6-2. That's a big win for Milwaukee in their race with the Cardinals. And Milwaukee won their game at home 3-0. They shut out the Dodgers. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. Milwaukee now has a 6-game bulge over St. Louis with 2 marquee pitchers, Sean Markham and Zach Greinke.
Yeah, what an addition to that staff, adding Greinke and Markham.
Pitch grounded out to short, behind the bag to Glovett. Escobar to throw on to first in time, 2 down. The Blue Jays are thrilled with Brett Laurie. He figures to be in a Blue Jays uniform for a number of years, and perhaps longer than just the average, maybe of 6 or 7 years. And the Brewers right now want to win the division, go to the playoffs. That makes it a great trade for both teams.
Sure does. And, my last year in the big leagues was with Milwaukee, as you know, and the big problem they had was consistent starting pitching. And they're getting it from their staff now, and look at the divisional race.
Here, Blue Jays 5, Mariners 4, 5th inning, 2 outs. The batter is the left-hand hitting Mike Karp, who was grounded out and homered to left. That home run with 1 out in the 3rd tied the game at 4. Karp hits a fly ball down the left field line. That's going to slice and arc foul back into the front row. The Cubs in Houston beat Houston 4-3. The Dodgers yesterday swept the Astros in their weekend series, and the Astros scored 1 run. They lost 1-0, 7-0, 6-1. No Hunter Pence, no Michael Bourne, no team.
Yeah, that team has really spiraled. Brad Arnsberg basically lost his pitching coach job because they couldn't throw the ball over the plate and get anybody out, and they don't score a whole lot of runs anymore, minus those guys.
There's a strike to Karp, 1-2. Houston has won 38 games this year, losing 84 now. 1-2 pitch, fastball up and in. Here the Blue Jays with a 5-4 lead. 2 outs. We're in the Seattle 5th inning. And the 2-2 pitch is low, ball 3. In the 9th inning in Colorado, the Marlins with a 4-3 lead over the Rockies. San Diego's at home, trailing the Mets 4-1 in the 6th inning. 3-2 pitch. That one's grounded up along first foul. We mentioned in the National League. Now in the American League, 2 finals. Minnesota beat Detroit 9-6. The story, Jim Thome, home runs numbers 599 and 600. 8th major leaguer to do that. And the Yankees beat Kansas City 7-4 in Kansas City. Swing and a miss. Alvarez just struck out Karp, and it's the first time all game a pitcher's out of 1-2-3 inning. We go to the 6th. Toronto 5, Mariners 4. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
The Power Workers Union. The people who help keep the lights on. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the game.
On the Blue Jays Radio Network.
Top of the 6th inning here in Seattle, Washington. Daniel Cortez comes on to work for the Mariners. Michael Pineda is finished for the night. The Blue Jays lead at 5-4. That means another winner in our VTech Call to the Bullpen contest. Listen at the conclusion of our game for all the winners of a VTech 2-handset cordless answering system featuring a cordless headset for hands-free conversations. Pineda is gone. He works 5 innings and gives up 5 runs, cannot win it, could still lose it, as now Cortez comes on. Now that Seattle bullpen, he's going to face Aaron Hill, J.P. Arencibia, and leadoff hitter Yunel Escobar. So enjoy this 2011 season with At Bat 2011 for your BlackBerry, iPad, or iPhone. Listen to live radio broadcasts and receive batter-by-batter information for every game. At Bat 2011 allows you to customize the app to receive the Blue Jays specific news and alerts you want. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Well, here is Aaron. He is lined out to second and had an infield hit to third. He bats 8th in the lineup. Cortez, a tall right-hander, comes in here. Just his 6th game. He's 0-1. His ERA 4.5. Then in AAA Tacoma, the Mariners have their top farm club just down the road, about 45 miles. Hill takes a strike on the inside corner.
Yeah, it must be nice for those guys. If you're one of those guys that you think is going to be shuttling back and forth between AAA and the big leagues, just get yourself an apartment halfway between.
Cortez delivers outside. Had the pleasure, Greg, of starting my professional baseball career in Tacoma with the Tacoma Twins, broadcasting in 74 and 75, and a wonderful town to live in.
I heard it's beautiful, and I think it's got to be just an absolute privilege and luxury for the Mariners to have their AAA club so close.
Cortez deals 1-1. The pitch hit on the ground foul, third base side. That's when they were the Tacoma Twins and eventually became the AAA team later of the Oakland Athletics and now the Seattle Mariners. They've had a long run there, and before I was able to get there, 1960, the Tacoma Giants. The Giants had their top farm club there for 6 years, and after that, the Cubs, the Tacoma Cubs. Hill grounds one back to the mound, speared by Cortez. Go to first, underhand toss to the first baseman covering, Mike Clark, 1 down.
J.P. Arencibia.
What was your favorite minor league city to play in?
My favorite one that I ever played for was Rochester, New York. I loved it. The old Silver Stadium. I had so much fun up there, and I made a lot of lasting friendships in that town. But it was just one of those kind of ballparks that you don't see too often anymore. They're a lot nicer these days.
Batter J.P. Arencibia takes ball 1, batting here in the Blue Jays' 6th inning. Blue Jays clinging to a 5-4 lead over the Mariners. Pitch is lifted foul off to the right-hand side. That's back out of play, 1-1. Michael Pineda threw 94 pitches. He went 5 innings. That's all. He gave up 5 earned runs on 6 hits. Struck out 6, walked 4. And now you're beginning to see the innings catch up to him, and at the age of 22, age of factor 2, the pitch is outside. Pineda's first 11 starts, he was 6-2 with an ERA of 2.3. Last 11 starts, 3-5, ERA nearly 5, and he's added to that tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. No, some of that could be the fact that the league's getting a chance to see him for the second time, and of course the innings are starting to pile up.
There's a swing and a miss, 2-2.
I'm talking with Eric Wedge before the game. Believe it or not, a former teammate of mine in the Arizona Fall League of all places. He was saying that, they're getting to the point in the season where they're going to have to start trying to protect him a little bit.
And the next pitch, Arencibia loops a foul first base side out of play. But remember last year, the Blue Jays shut down Brandon Morrow first week in September because he'd reached a certain number of innings, and they didn't want him to surpass that, having been a former reliever.
Yeah, that's smart. I don't think Pineda's probably ever been a reliever, but nowadays they seem to all have these formulas for how many innings they should increase each year.
Slider, he does not go around on the appeal, says the first base umpire, Tim McClellan. Now that's an interesting situation right there. The ball is spun into the dirt. Did he go around or not? The ball ends up at the backstop. And Tim McClellan's kind of in a tough situation right there. The hitter's standing there, and Tim goes palm down, and if he goes up with a fist, Aaron Sebia has got to run, and because he didn't run initially, he's probably going to be out. 3-2 pitch fastball line to left field, a base hit. They got to pitch up and reaches now with one out.
Yeah, but Corey Blazer did a great job there. Immediately signals to Tim McClellan, was there a swing? No hesitation whatsoever. Nice job by the young umpire.
Blue Jays with their 7th hit. Batter now Yunel Escobar. Walked to start the game. Eric Thames and homered to right to make it quickly 2-0. Eric with his 8th. Yunel twice has grounded out since, so he is 0 for 2. Blue Jays 5, Mariners 4. And the pitch, fastball grounded out to second, could be 2, taken by Ackley. Go to second, 1, back to first, double play, and the inning is over. Bottom of the 6th we go. Toronto 5, Mariners 4. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
It's the Honda.
This inning is brought to you by your Honda dealers. It is the bottom of the 6th inning. Brett Lawrie homered to start the 4th inning, breaking a 4-4 tie, his 3rd already in just 10 games. And the Blue Jays have a 1-run lead. Jerry Howarth, along with Greg Zahn, filling in for Alan Ashby, who's on the TV side with Buck Martinez. Our engineer here, Tom Young, with Mike Wilner and Derek Randale back in our Toronto studios. Great to have you with us on our Blue Jays Radio Network. This is game 1 of 7 across the West Coast here. 3 here, and then 4 in Oakland beginning Thursday night. Right-hander Henderson Alvarez, the 21-year-old, misses outside ball 1 to Casper Wells, starting the bottom of the 6th inning. Wells has been hit by a pitch and scored in the Mariners' 3-run second. He's also grounded out to short. Fastball hit into shallow center field, coming on Rasmus. He has to take it on a bounce. And a flare to center field by Wells, and Casper reaches here in the 6th inning, representing the tying run. And here comes manager John Farrell out to the mound. Jesse Litch has been out in the bullpen. Now Alvarez is at 86 pitches. And he is going to leave here at Safeco Field. And he's at 96 pitches. So 96 pitches, and that's enough for John Farrell. So here in Seattle, 6th inning, Jesse Litch comes on. The Blue Jays with a narrow 5-4 lead. Well, here we go. Litch is set to go. His first pitch is up and in, ball 1. That spins right-handed hitting catcher Miguel Olivo out of the box.
And not to mention, you know, if I was a general manager, I'd feel probably similar to most of them. If I paid $6 million for a guy like Strasburg or Bryce Harper, I don't want him blowing out on a minor league field. And so consequently, they get rushed to the show, and it really dilutes the talent level at the upper levels of the minor leagues.
Blue Jays 5, Mariners 4, 6th inning. Wells at first base for the lead. The pitch outside 2-0.
It has a domino effect on every team, because your prospects are not being pushed and challenged by the other prospects from the other clubs because they're already in the big leagues. So consequently, you're rushing your players to the major leagues to get them some competition, and they end up learning in the big leagues, which is not where they're supposed to learn.
Well, we'll see how that all ends. Midnight deadline here for this year anyway. The pitch is low, 3-0. Jesse Litch comes out of the bullpen here for Henderson Alvarez with a runner at first base representing the tying run here in the Mariners' 6th inning. Jesse is in his 14th game. He's had 8 starts. His record 4-3. His ERA 4.25. Right-hander against right-hander. Olivo 0 for 2. Takes a fastball for a strike, 3-1. Olivo flied out to right in the second, struck out in the third. On deck, the rookie, Trayvon Robinson. Litch likes to keep the ball down. Good sinker ball pitcher, and the Blue Jays trying to get a ground ball here to help their cause. Lawrie backed up at third. Lind holds on the runner at first. They're bunched up the middle of the diamond. 3-1 pitch grounded to short, taken by Escobar. Quickly to second one. Hill back to first on the bounce. It's off the glove of Lynn. He can't quite hold it. And safely across is Olivo. It starts with a poor throw by Escobar to Aaron Hill, and that really upset the timing.
Exactly. That throw by Escobar pretty much pretzeled Aaron Hill. It was down and to his right. He had to basically reach all the way across his body, then turn around, gather his balance again, and one bad throw commonly leads to a second poor throw, which you did see from Aaron Hill.
And Adam upset it himself that he couldn't dig that ball out of the dirt. It just appeared, Greg, that Unell rushed it where he didn't have to.
He did. All in one motion, he caught it and threw it, and it was inaccurate, and that's an uncharacteristic mistake from him. He's been really solid at short all year long.
Now, here's Trayvon Robinson, a left-handed hitter and a speedster. But if Unell factors in that it's a right-handed hitting catcher, the slow-footed Miguel Olivo, he takes a little more time.
Probably does gather himself and deliver a way better throw to Aaron Hill.
So it remains 5-4 Blue Jays, but the Mariners with one out, still a runner at first base. Robinson has doubled to left to drive in a run and scored in the 3-run second and struck out in the fourth. There's a strike called to him, 0-1. Robinson, a good-looking rookie. We saw him on the video highlights about a week ago when he was playing left field in Anaheim and literally jumped into the crowd with that low retaining wall at Angel Stadium and took a home run away from an Angel.
Yeah, and tonight we see some opposite field power for him with a double over Eric Thames' head.
There's a ball sliced to left down the line, dropping foul by the length of a bat as it kicks into the crowd on a bounce.
I mean, I've had a limited sample of Trayvon Robinson, but he looks like a pretty good young player. Definitely likes to take the ball to left field. Got some power, runs well. Obviously not afraid to jump into the stands or get up against that wall and catch the ball.
Now Robinson comes back to the plate. He's a switch hitter up here batting left-handed. Sixth inning, Mariners down 5-4. Blue Jays have out hit them 7-6. Runner at first, Olivo, one out. Again, the Blue Jays looking for a double play ground ball possibility. Lit set. Cuts it loose. The pitch line to left field coming on Thames. It's a base hit. Takes it on a bounce. Olivo to second. Robinson is 2 for 3.
Third baseman Kyle Seager.
The batter now, Kyle Seager. Left-handed hitter. He has walked and scored and flied out. In the first inning, Eric Thames hit a 2-run home run to right his 8th. The Mariners 3 in the bottom of the second inning. They took the lead briefly, and then in the third, Bautista with one out walked, and Adam Lynn homered to right, his 21st. That made it 4-3. Mike Karp with one out in the bottom of the third tied it with a home run to left. That made it 4-4, end of 3. The pitch is low. And then to start the fourth inning, Brett Laurie, who had struck out in the second, homered to left field. His third in 10 games as a rookie. That made it 5-4, and that's the score here in the bottom of the 6th. The Mariners getting one more run in that third inning on the Karp home run. So they have 4 runs on 7 hits. The Blue Jays 5 runs on 7 hits. But now Mariners at first and second, one out. Pitch hit on the ground to second. Hill has it. Backhand toss to second, one. Escobar to first. Pull it 2. An inning-ending double play. Jesse Litch gets one ground ball after another, and he picks up Henderson Alvarez beautifully. At the end of 6, it remains Toronto 5, the Mariners 4. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network. Night is coming Thursday, August the 25th. Blue Jays host the Kansas City Royals at 7:07. Put on your best 90s outfit and win lots of great prizes. Call the Blue Jays. If you're online, print your own tickets at BlueJays.com or most Rogers Plus locations. Goodness knows what Greg Zahn is going to wear on 90s night, because I saw you on 70s night and 80s night, and I was very impressed at what you wore.
I'm told that Jamie Campbell and I are exempt from dressing on 90s night because we made the case that there really wasn't much different clothing being worn in the 90s than there is today.
Here's Eric Thames, takes the ball leading off the 7th. Blue Jays 5, Mariners 4. The pitch flashed to left field deep. Back to get it. Trayvon Robinson jumps, makes a backhanded catch at the track. And with that one out, Thames has hit the ball hard. He's homered to right. Grounded out and popped up, and now lines out to the wall and left.
Yeah, he's a nice swing right there by Thames. Great read by Trayvon Robinson in left field, catching the ball on the run. Well-struck line drive to left field.
And the batter now, Jose Bautista. He swings and he misses strike one. Well, that's 90s night coming up Thursday, August the 25th. The Blue Jays return home after this West Coast trip through Seattle and Oakland to take on the Kansas City Royals. Jose takes a knee-buckling curve outside from the tall right-hander Daniel Cortez. Jose has struck out, walked, and scored and grounded out. He is 0 for 2. Scored after the walk on Adam Lynn's 21st home run ripped to right. Pitch outside.
What were you wearing in the 90s, Jerry?
Same thing I am right now.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why Jamie Campbell and I decided that we didn't want to do it.
I'm good for the 70s night, 80s night, 90s night, you name it night. Cortez misses outside, 3-1.
Classic style, Jerry. It never goes out of style.
Whenever I see a sale at Goodwill, I'm there. Bautista and Lynn, the 3-4 hitters here with one out in the 7th. The pitch packed on the ground through the left side, a base hit. And Bautista picking it up. He's aboard with one out for Lynn.
It's amazing the sound coming off of Jose's bat is so much different than a lot of other players. I mean, a lot of other guys hit a ground ball like that, and it's a couple of steps to the left of the third baseman. They run it down. But he stays behind the ball so well when his timing on that leg kick is good, and there's so much bat speed, and it just makes a different sound.
And yesterday heard that sound too as he went 3 for 4, including a home run, his 34th to lead the majors. Lynn takes outside ball one.
There's just certain guys. I remember playing with Moises Alou, and the ball made a different sound coming off his bat. He was a vicious line drive hitter. Didn't hit 30 or 40 home runs a year, but when he hit a line drive, you knew it because it was a loud sound in the ballpark.
Jose can steal a base. He bluffs, doesn't go. Lynn takes outside. Adam, one of 3 Blue Jays to homer here tonight. Eric Thames, the 2-run home run to right, his 8th in the first inning. Lynn with a 2-run home run to right, his 21st in the 3rd. And then Brett Laurie leading off the 4th of a 4-4 tie, his 3rd deep to left. Adam takes outside, 3-0, and now a very inviting count here, and John Farrell's not afraid to put it on with anybody, but especially experienced hitters.
Adam's been swinging the bat a lot better the last 2 or 3 days. He took a couple of balls to left field in the last homestand, and then all of a sudden turned around a home run, and he had a nice line drive to left earlier.
He takes a fastball for a strike, 3-1.
I don't think you could turn him loose in that situation right there, Jerry, because of how hot Encarnacion's been.
Edwin on deck with a 13-game hitting streak tonight. 0 for 2, but last time up, flied out to the wall and left. Hit it high and into the wind. The winds have stopped now here at Safeco Field. 3-1 pitch hit deep to left field. Robinson has a play on it, creeps to the corner, makes the catch. Jose went up to second and watched. The throw comes back to second on 3 hops, and with that, 2 down. Another hard hit ball to left field.
And honestly, another ball that probably had a chance to leave in Rogers Center. Adam Lynn, all of a sudden, against Oakland, he started swinging the bat a little bit better. He drove a double in the gap to left center, and I talked about how sometimes as a hitter you struggle. You want to give up a couple of at-bats, let it travel, use the other side of the field, even if you make outs, because then all of a sudden it lines everything up, and he's really starting to stay behind the ball well. Front shoulders in and tight.
Toss to first, Bautista back, 7th inning. Blue Jays 5, Mariners 4. Blue Jays have out-hit Seattle 8-7. Blue Jays came here on their first West Coast road trip back in early April and lost 2 games out of 3. Edwin grounds one, broke his bat back to the hill. Taken by Cortez, the toss to first in time. The inning is over. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Toronto 5, Mariners 4. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network. brought to you by Home Hardware and Building Center Locations. Homeowners helping homeowners. Well, here the Blue Jays lead the Mariners 5-4 on the television side. Russ Laurie's being interviewed on Sportsnet television by Barry Davis, and why not? His son Brett homered to left field leading off the fourth inning. Greg Zahn of a 4-4 tie, and the Blue Jays still lead 5-4 on that blast.
The kid's been doing it all since he's gotten up here. His energy's been infectious. You see a lot more life in that dugout every time something good happens. Plays the game with a lot of passion. He runs out every ball. He works real hard. I've noticed him out with Butterfield. I think he's wearing poor Brian Butterfield out. I really do.
That was Mom Cheryl's on the television side now. Russ and Cheryl here as proud parents. Watching Brett play third base as we start the bottom of the seventh inning. Jack Wilson up. He swings and misses, strike one, against the right-hander Jesse Litch. Wilson has single home run and single to center, so he's 2 for 2. A very productive night in the ninth spot. It's foul back off to the right-hand side. No balls and 2 strikes.
Jack Wilson's a scrappy player. Great fielder at shortstop. But plays the game the right way. And even going back to his Pittsburgh days, always been a fan of the way he plays the game.
Henderson Alvarez went 5+ innings. Litch picked him up in the 6th, and now we're in the 7th. Slider top foul third base side. How were you playing in front of your parents as a youngster and then professionally?
Well, as a youngster, I loved it because my mom was my hitting coach. She was the one that taught me how to hit when I was young, and she related it all to golf. And that seemed to help me out. She was very involved in the league, and I was really happy to have her around. She was my catch partner until I was about 12.
Strike 2 pitch fouled off.
And then all of a sudden, I started to be able to throw it a little bit too hard for dear old Mom, and I had to find somebody else to play catch with. But, you know, by then I was old enough to ride my bike pretty much wherever I wanted to go in the city, and we would meet at the ballpark. But playing in front of my parents, I always seemed to do something good.
Good. Well, the reason I bring that up, it's not easy for kids. There's a foul off to the left down the line, still 0-2. Asked Adam Lind about that, about his mom and dad, Kathy and Al. He said, it was just part of what I did. They always came to watch me play. I didn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, and that's the way it was for me. My mom never missed a game. And, you know, Dad was working here and there, but they were great. I mean, Little League was a social event in my hometown. People would show up 2,000 at a time.
Swing and a miss. Litch just struck out Wilson. And Jesse, a starter converted to a reliever, dominating right-handed hitters, gets a quick out here in the 7th inning, protecting a 5-4 lead.
Yeah, we used to get a couple of thousand people, especially. I played on one of the city's best teams, and our main rival was a team called Glendale Federal. And it was a rivalry that went back 15, 20 years before I even got to Little League, and people were passionate about it even then.
The great Ichiro Suzuki takes ball 1.
So we would go play, and the kids, we didn't know any better, but the parents, they're like, going back to their days in Little League, did not like each other.
Ichiro, who's 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly, takes ball 2, 2-0.
And then during the city playoffs, we would go, you know, to the south side of town and play this team called IGO, the International Garage Owners, and it was a war.
Ichiro hits a fly ball to left field. Waiting for it is Eric Thames. He makes the catch, 2 down.
It was pretty common to look up in the stands and see parents getting in fistfights over the games and screaming at the umpires. It was a big source of pride. And so I got used to playing in front of my parents, too. But I think I've probably hit more home runs in front of my mom than I have in front of anybody else.
Greg's on with us. Sherry might be listening. His mom. I've always enjoyed your mom. Right here, bottom of the 7th inning, the Blue Jays enjoying a 5-4 lead over Seattle. Game 1 of 3 here at Safeco Field. Litch now to face Franklin Gutierrez. Right-handed hitter and a good one. Takes outside ball 1.
You interviewed my mom a couple of times, didn't you, Jerry?
Yes, I did. And asked her about being the golf coach years ago at USC, the University of Southern California. You don't see that every day.
No, you don't.
No, a lovely lady. The pitch is topped on the ground, third base side. Glove with a backhand stab by Litch. Throw to first. What a play. The inning is over. Jesse Litch is a fifth infielder out there on the diamond and taps gloves with Brett Laurie, and his teammates mob him now as he goes down the steps of the Blue Jays' third base dugout. We go to the eighth. Toronto 5, Mariners 4, brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network. Tom Wilhelmsen, eighth inning. He's going to face Colby Rasmus, Brett Laurie, and Aaron Hill. Blue Jays 5, Mariners 4. Wilhelmsen delivers high, ball 1. So Michael Pineda goes 5. The starter charged with 5 runs on 6 hits. It's his game to lose. Henderson Alvarez went 5+ innings for the Blue Jays in his second start. He gave up 4 runs on 6 hits, his game to win. Pitch is outside. Jesse Litch has gone 2 scoreless innings, allowing 1 hit. Daniel Cortez went 2 scoreless innings, allowing 2 hits, and now Wilhelmsen here in the 8th. 2-0 pitch to Rasmus is outside. Colby has struck out twice in single array. Jerry Howard, along with Greg Zahn, filling in this series for Alan Ashby, who's on the television side with Buck Martinez. Tom Young, our engineer here at Safeco Field. There's a strike call. Mike Wilner and Derek Brandeo back in our Toronto studios. Great to have you with us here on our Blue Jays Radio Network. Tomorrow night, Jason Vargas, the left-hander, against Brad Mills. The Blue Jays lefty is 1-2. Ground ball out to second, taken by the rookie Dustin Ackley. The toss to first in time. 1 down. Tomorrow night, we're on the air at 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time. We're going to have a visit with Mike Beamish. He's a writer with the Vancouver Sun. He's here specifically to cover Brett Laurie and the Blue Jays. So we'll visit with him about his day here today and tomorrow as well, covering the story from Langley, British Columbia, a suburb of Vancouver. And Laurie tonight's hit a home run. And here he is, and he bunts along third, but close to the mound, taken by Wilhelmsen, and he throws out Laurie. A good idea, but the bunt was too close to the hill, and the pitcher made the play.
Yeah, tremendous idea. Third baseman playing pretty much in another zip code, but poor execution. I'm not sure how often Brett Laurie bunts for base hits, but I love it. I love take advantage of every opportunity, because if you can show a team that you can do that, the rest of the league sees it. Now the third baseman has to come a couple of steps in, and you pick up a lot more base hits in the hole because he's closer to you.
Brett is homered tonight. That broke a 4-4 tie, leading off the 4th inning, made it 5-4. That's still the score. Here in the 8th, as Aaron Hill swings and he misses strike 1. Laurie's home run, a drive deep to left, his third in 10 Major League games. Aaron 1 for 3, and infield hit the third. He takes a strike 0-2.
I like that bunt for a base hit. I think it's something that Aaron Hill should do more of. I think Escobar should do more of it. It stretches the defense. The closer the third baseman is to home plate, the further distance he is away from the left fielder.
Fastball hit into shallow right field, coming on Ichiro. He's there, looks up into the nighttime sky, makes the catch, and the inning is over. Bottom of the 8th we go. Toronto 5, Mariners 4 here in Seattle. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball on the Blue Jays Radio Network.
You. We're getting set for the bottom of the 8th. Trevor Miller coming on for the Blue Jays, who lead the Mariners 5-4. We'll update you on the goings-on in the Major League Draft. The deadline was 31 minutes ago, and according to the news that we have been able to figure out through reports across the internet and Twitter and stuff, the Blue Jays haven't made anything official yet, but it appears as though the Jays have failed to sign first-round pick Tyler Beede, but they did sign Daniel Norris, who is perhaps a better prospect and a tougher field. Jerry Howarth and Greg Zahn.
The androids are among us, introducing the Xperia Arc and Xperia Play, exclusively from Rogers. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Blue Jays lead the Mariners 5-4. Trevor Miller comes on, veteran left-hander, against Dustin Ackley, left-handed hitting second baseman, who's 0 for 3. He's grounded out 3 times. And the pitch to Ackley is outside ball one. Jesse Litch, Greg's on a nice job. 2 scoreless innings, allows 1 hit.
He's been fantastic out of the bullpen. Really good matchup right-handed pitcher. And a great guy to have in the pen because you know if you had to go to him for a start, he could give it to you as well.
Trevor's outside, 2-0. Henderson Alvarez went 5+ innings, a 21-year-old in his second big league start. Gave up 4 runs, all earned on 6 hits. He struck out 3, walked 1. It's his game to win. Check swing grounder by the mound toward short, charged by Escobar from the infield grass, throws him out with a nice fluid play with that great athleticism.
He really has done a nice job. All the concern about his flash coming into this season, pretty much gone now. You can see that he's basically bought into the Brian Butterfield idea of just get it out, make the play.
And Unell's a good student, too. He takes it all in.
He really is. He just seems to be a real good kid. He likes to play the game. He enjoys baseball, but he's quiet. And like I said, he's totally different than what he was advertised as.
Mike Karp, left-handed hitter, takes strike 1 called here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Blue Jays 5, Mariners 4. Karp's home run to left with 1 out in the 3rd tied the game at 4. Hit it with nobody on. Miller's pitch, swing and a miss on a fastball. No balls and 2 strikes. Trevor coming over in the deal with the Cardinals. Miller is a Blue Jay in 5 games. No record is ERA 2.70. He's given up 1 earned run and now 3 2/3 innings. Couple of strikeouts, couple of walks. Pitch drilled to right field. Back for Bautista, looking up. It is gone. This game's tied 5-5 here in Seattle. And a Mike Karp home run, his second tonight. Left-hander against left-hander.
Yeah, right there. Trevor definitely wants this one back. Hanging slider doesn't get to the outside corner, ends up middle in. Karp with that great left-handed stroke ties the ball game with a home run to right. Now a home run to left and a home run to right.
Now John Farrell will go to the bullpen. It's 5-5. Blue Jays and Mariners, bottom of the 8th inning. With that, let's send it back to Mike Wilner in Toronto for a look at that home hardware Sportsnet. Out of here, bottom of the 8th inning, Casper Wells comes up, the Mariners right-handed hitting DH. After Mike Karp homered to right off Trevor Miller, this game is tied 5-5. So Henderson Alvarez is no longer the pitcher of record to win it, and Michael Pineda no longer the pitcher of record to lose it. Big 6'11" right-hander John Roush on for the Blue Jays. And his first pitch to Wells is high, ball 1. Roush, 5-3 in 50 games. John's ERA 4.35, 11 saves. He's worked 49 2/3 innings with 34 strikeouts, 13 walks. Swing and miss on a fastball down and away, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Tell you what, that left-on-left matchup is one of the biggest ones in baseball. There are so few left-handed pitchers, and it's not as significant as right-on-right because they're used to facing that right-handed pitcher. And those lefties like Trevor can hang around a long time, but not if they keep hanging sliders.
Fastball found away third base side. That goes back up into the upper deck.
If I was a left-handed hitter and I had to face left-handed specialists coming out of the bullpen, I'd be sitting slider or fastball away every pitch. I would take the outside part of the plate away from them because every left-handed specialist that comes in pretty well has a breaking ball that they want to sweep away from the left-handed batter. So why not sit on it?
And the 1-2 pitch. Fastball belted to left field. Long run, Eric Thames. He's looking up, and that one's gone. Casper Wells homers in Seattle out in front 6-5 in the bottom of the 8th inning on back-to-back home runs. It's a pitcher's paradise. The Blue Jays have hit 3 home runs. Thames and Lind each with a man on, and Laurie with the lead 5-4 in the 4th. And now the Mariners have hit 3 home runs. 6 home runs hit here tonight.
And 5 of the 6 have gone where I said you could hit them. Left of the visiting bullpen and to the right of the 385 sign. Only the opposite field home run by Carp was into the bigger part of the yard.
Miguel Olivo swings and misses, strike one. Now fouls one off to our right quickly, 0-2.
And see, the philosophy, the idea, there are some guys you go into the game and you say, okay, we're going to pitch this guy in. All right, well, that's fine and dandy. And that ball right there was on the outer half, but it was up.
Roush deals the pitch line to center field. That's a base hit. And the Mariners have 3 straight hits with 1 out here in this 8th inning to overcome a 1-run deficit and take the lead.
Especially in a ballpark like this where it's really forgiving in the middle of the ballpark, you want to make sure that you stay out, away from hitters, and make them use the big part of the ballpark or opposite field. Can't give them anything to pull.
Here is Trayvon Robinson. He has double homer run and scored, struck out and singled. Left-handed hitting rookie, chokes up an inch. 2 for 3. The lead at first base by Olivo. He goes. The pitch outside. The throw is there. The tag by Escobar. The head first slide. He's out at second base on a perfect throw by J.P. Arancibia.
JP's percentages may not be that great at throwing runners out, but he's done a fantastic job of throwing the baseball. Seems like every time he's had an opportunity to throw somebody out, he does.
Well, as soon as that pitch was thrown, Escobar broke from short, took the throw, waited, and tagged out Olivo. Now Robinson with a 1-0 count. The pitch to him is outside.
Yeah, that last one wasn't even close, Terry. He's out by 4 feet.
Greg Zahn, you caught 16 years. What's your take on young Arancibia's rookie year?
Well, I love the fact that he's been able to develop such a good relationship with his pitching staff.
There's a foul to the screen.
You know, fundamentally, I think there's some things to work on. He throws very well. He's going to be an excellent hitter. There are some things about, his game, and I've been, fairly vocal about it. But it's only because I want to see him do as well as everybody else does. I think he has a chance to be one of the best catchers in the game.
Fastball inside, 3-1.
And I'm not just talking about with his bat. I'm talking about glove work and being able to control the baseball. And obviously we know that the Jays are leading the baseball world in pass balls and wild pitches, and this is going to take some time.
Roush pitch lined up the gap in the left center field. That's a base hit. That goes all the way to the wall. Picked up by Rasmus. Robinson around second stops as the throw comes back to Escobar. A 2-out double, and now how big is that throw by Arancibia? Huge. Robinson is 3 for 4 and hits the ball the other way as well as any left-handed hitter you'd want to see.
Yeah, he's definitely staying on the ball nice, using the opposite field. It's a good approach for a young hitter. Because what happens is if you go out on the outer half and you show the other opposing team that you can hit the ball crisply to the opposite field, all of a sudden they start trying to pitch you in. That's when you start to see a lot of home runs happen.
2 in the 8th for Seattle. They lead 6-5. Roush is low and outside, ball 1. Well, this starts with Trevor Miller coming out of the bullpen to face 2 left-handed hitters, protecting a 5-4 lead. Lefty-lefty matchup. That's what John Farrell was looking for. And a ground out and a home run later, the game was tied 5-5. Now, here's the interesting part, as the pitch is outside 2-0. This year, with the Blue Jays, since Trevor came over from the Cardinals, left-handed hitters, and he's a lefty, are 6 for 9, including Carp's home run. Right-handed hitters, 0 for 7. Just the opposite of what you might expect.
Yeah, exactly. The slider's been flat, and it hasn't had a whole lot of bite to it, and I think that's the reason why the lefties have been able to get to him.
Ground ball foul into the Blue Jays' third base dugout. 2 balls and 1 strike on left-handed hitting Kyle Seager.
Right now, Roush has just been, missing out over the plate a little bit. The ball's not quite getting to where it's supposed to get to. Throwing the ball fine, just doesn't have as much finish on it as we've seen from him prior this year.
I look back at second with 2 outs. Fastball hit foul late, third base side, 2-2. And even for John, if you look at the right-hander and left-hander matchup, he's right-handed. Right-handed hitters in this inning have hit a home run and a single. And they are hitting .271 off John this year, despite the fact he's right-handed. Left-handed hitters, and they have a hit here with Robinson hitting below .250.
Yeah, there's weird matchups like that. You know, Jason Frazier had great numbers against left-handed batters because his stuff just matched up well. He was able to paint the fastball down and away, and he threw that split change. But for some reason, the cutter wasn't as effective against righties as his changeup was against lefties.
Now Robinson taking a pretty good sized lead at second, so Escobar short, bird dogging him in behind him. That opens up the hole on the left side. The pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out. The inning is over, but Mike Karp and Casper Wells have homered back-to-back. We go to the ninth inning. It's now Seattle 6, Toronto 5. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
Sportsnet Radio, the Fan 590.
Brings on another winner in our D-Tech Fall to the Bullpen contest. Listen at the end of our game for all of tonight's lucky winners. Top of the ninth inning, former Blue Jay and now closer Brandon League, 29 saves and 33 opportunities, pitching to an ERA of .285, on to protect the Mariners' 6-5 lead. Here is J. Pierre Ancibia. Fastball strike on the outside corner. So Tom Williamson goes a scoreless, hitless eighth inning. He's the pitcher of record after Karp and Wells homered back-to-back. Karp off Miller and Wells off Roush. That makes Roush the pitcher of record to lose it. The pitch is outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. League in 50 games. Also 1-4. His ERA, as we said, .285. And he comes high, 2-1.
This is a good matchup for the Blue Jays. League's a sinker ball pitcher, and J. Pierre Ancibia likes the fastball low and towards the middle of the zone, down and in. Almost a left-handed stroke on the opposite side.
JP hitting ninth as walk, struck out and singled to left. He is 1 for 2. From the stretch. League to his hitter. Fastball popped up behind the plate. Miguel Olivo to the screen. He's got room. He makes the catch.
Right there was a really good pitch for JP to hit. Had a great swing at it, just hit the bottom of the baseball. That's a frustrating at bat as a player. You know you put the perfect swing on the ball, but you didn't quite square it up.
One thing you know with Brandon League, he's gone to contacts. He used to wear the clear glasses, prescription glasses nonetheless, but he's gone to the contacts, and he's also gone to 34 strikeouts and only 9 walks in 47 2/3 innings.
Yeah, when he first came up with the Jays, I was there in New York. Gary Sheffield told me in the tunnel that it was some of the best stuff he'd ever seen. Brandon was hitting triple digits with a sinker, and he had a great split finger, but he's really started to been able to harness his command. He's throwing the ball over the plate, and when you have the ability to throw the ball with movement in the upper 90s like he does, couple that with a great split, good things are going to happen.
Pitch in the dirt to Yunel Escobar, 1 out in the Blue Jays ninth. And the pitch up and in, and down he goes on his back. Fastball put him right on his back, and catcher Miguel Olivo, you don't see this every day, reached down with his hand and pulled Escobar back to his feet.
About the third pitch Escobar's seen up and in today. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Olivo helping him up, even though he's a Blue Jay. You kind of want the intimidation factor to sink in a little bit.
And the stretch by League. 2-0 pitch. Fastball fouled off first base side.
By helping him up right there, he's almost telling him, hey, that wasn't intentional. I don't want him to know that. I don't want you getting in there comfortable against my closer.
I have to admit, I haven't seen that for a while, if at all.
Oh, no. I see a lot of things some of the catchers do nowadays, like they'll hold the bat for him or whatnot. And I've done it a couple of times for some real close friends that were opponents, but I'm definitely not helping somebody off the ground.
You now with 10 home runs awaits the pitch and takes a strike on the outside corner. 2-2. 1 out, top of the ninth inning. 28,530 here. Many from British Columbia. See Brett Lawrie, who's hit a home run here tonight. That made it 5-4 Blue Jays in the fourth. But the Mariners just scored 2 in the 8th inning on back-to-back home runs and lead 6-5. League to Escobar. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 2 down.
Eric Thames.
Nasty splitter.
Yeah, that pitch right there is one of those things where you're not going to hit it. If it's thrown properly, you can't hit it because a good split starts in the strike zone and finishes exactly the way that one did in the dirt. You know, Jerry, I have to say, Brandon League, when he came up as a young player, you could see he was kind of overwhelmed with the idea of throwing strikes and being in the big leagues.
Eric Thames fouls the first pitch at the plate, strike 1.
His demeanor is different to me. You can look at the statistics and say, yeah, he's maturing as a player, but I'm watching the pace, the calmness with which he's handling the 9th inning right now. The way he walks around the mound, the way he gathers himself, his pre-pitch preparation, he looks like a closer now.
Well, he's an out away from closing his 30th. That would tie him with the great Mariano Rivera with the Yankees. Like 1 pitch outside. In fact, only one reliever has more than Rivera's 30, and that is Jose Valverde with Detroit. He has 35 to lead the American League. Rivera at 30 and League at 29 and counting. The pitch line to left field softly, a base hit. Thames makes the turn. The ball fielded by Robinson. And Eric has a single to go along with his home run, and he brings up Jose Bautista with that one swing.
Yeah, huge. You know that Jose Bautista is the 4th hitter of the inning, and you want to make sure that he gets to the plate. Huge at bat by Thames right there.
Mike McCoy out of the third base dugout to run for Thames at first base. And I think here you're talking 2 quick runners, but McCoy has more experience and a better base stealer.
Definitely. I don't think he's going anywhere right now, though. You're going to let your number 3 hitter try to hit a home run and put you on top.
Now the batter, Jose Bautista, 1 for 3 and a walk. He has scored on Adam Lynn's home run to right in the 3rd. League set. He deals, and a ground ball chopped up along 3rd. Charged by Seager. The throw to first low, but taken above the dirt by Karp. And Seattle hangs on to win it 6-5 here at Safeco Field.
Tremendous outing by Brandon League right there. What a seesaw game that was. Back and forth with the home runs and the offense. Didn't seem like anybody could get a shutdown inning and keep the momentum on the side of their team.
The Mariners win game 1 of this 3-game series. 6 runs, 11 hits, and no errors. Blue Jays 5 runs, 9 hits, and no errors as Tom Williamson beats John Roush and Brandon League saves his 30th. We'll be back right after this, brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Blue Jays Radio Network.
Radio Network.
Back here at Safeco Field, as we start our Honda postgame show, Mariners with 2 in the bottom of the 8th inning on back-to-back home runs by Mike Karp and Casper Wells. Win at 6-5. The first home run hit off Trevor Miller. That tied it at 5. Wells off John Roush. That made it 6-5. So Roush, your loser. The winner, Tom Williamson. Brandon League, his 30th save as he joins Jose Valverde and Mariano Rivera with 35 and 30 respectively as the 3rd closer in the American League with 30 saves. Congratulations to our winners during the VTech Bullpen Hotline promotion. A trio of Ontario winners tonight. Kevin McDonald of Whitby, Rob Argales in Toronto, Roddy Maxwell from Richmond Hill. Remember to enter the VTech Bullpen Hotline promotion. Every time the Blue Jay hitters ring up the opposing team's pitcher and they go to their bullpen, a lucky listener will win a VTech 2-handset cordless answering machine system featuring voice-announced caller ID and a cordless headset for hands-free conversations. Enter online now at VTechBullpenHotline.com or fan590.com. Greg's on. Great job tonight. Now tomorrow night, we're on the air at 9:30 Eastern, 10:10 first pitch. Battle of the Lefties. Jason Vargas, 7 and 10. Brad Mills, 1 and 2.
I'm looking forward to it. I've been a fan of the way Vargas pitches. Loved what I've seen from Mills so far. Should be a good matchup. Similar styles. They're not going to be guys that light up the radar gun, but they're going to throw the ball both sides of the plate. A lot of off-speed stuff. Good mix.
a couple of crafty left-handers.
And thought tonight, with all the attention put on Brett Laurie and so many coming from British Columbia, he didn't disappoint. He had 1 hit and 4 at-bats, but oh, what a one. A home run to left, leading off the fourth, his third. That made it 5-4, and that stood until those 2 home runs back-to-back in the Seattle 8.
It did, and he just continues to impress. I mean, he passes every single test that you throw at him, and playing in front of your family and your friends and your, well, as close to their home as you can get, is just another one of those tests that young Major League players face when they come to the big leagues. And he seems to be handling it all in stride.
Good job tonight.
Thank you as well.
Eggs on, filling in. Alan Ashby on the TV side. Once again, the Mariners 6, the Blue Jays 5, as we send it back to Mike Wellner in Toronto.